Hello, SDL, and welcome back to the Divine Division. Sorry, not Sunbreakers. Wild Inferno. Keep getting mixed up with the pictures. Right above my head and right above Divine's head would be Flourish. Divine, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's a good day for me.
Good day for you. You know, we got some new games out. Greatest RPG to ever be released, and that's what Divine's been doing as of today. But we got to go ahead and move over to some Divine picks and bans here at some point soon. I don't, you know a little bit about these two teams. You know some of these names. Go ahead and talk to me about what you do know.
Yeah, so I was actually had the pleasure of watching the previous Wild Inferno set, like casting it with them, and the way they play, it's very like teamwork focused. They ended up getting a couple games, off the backs of Fiji and Indigo just being really good frontliners, and Dracull being like really good at just keeping his backline alive, and just letting Katamatic do what he does best. So that's what I'm excited to see for them today. Is just maybe get Indigo on gods he likes, like Wukong, Kakulin, and gods they don't want to see, like the Kali being banned first.
That makes total sense. Kali out of the picture already, as well as Thor. I can talk to you a little bit about Flourish. I know Royalty, a previous Immortal captain, ended up coming back down here to Divine and is going to dominate down here, in my opinion. Actually, has been pretty good in Immortal as well. The possibility of also Terminator being down here in Cosmic Warrior, a previous caster, would be sitting here if he was not doing these captaining for Divine level players, especially Waaav as well. Actually, funny enough, was a semi-pro in Overwatch League and still does play Overwatch a
Oh,
good amount, funny enough. So a good TBS dude, great support player, and also a great communicator. A good friend of Divine Sunbreakers as well. But we have some other bands going out here. These are very generic bands. Baba Yaga, Marticarus off the table for Flourish. Uh, I expect to see probably a Baka Siri here. Anything else that you're seeing that's still open?
we're still seeing Jorm dominate the solo lane. We're still seeing Wukong picked every game. I don't think I'll see him banned, but highly contested. So I wouldn't mind one. Bakasura, like you said, we've been seeing Set prioritized typically in like the higher leagues. That's a guy that's tough to pilot, but when piloted well, it seems to be just unstoppable. So I wonder if either of these teams look to take him off the table too.
That would make total sense. And I think the only other god, did you say Ravana? Because I think the
Oh,
Ravana is still open. Yeah, Ravana is still open. No
yeah.
problem. I'm not attacking you or anything like that. You're
No,
so
no.
great. You named three great gods that are all open. I think the
Mhm,
Jormungandr is especially one of those gods that we
mhm.
saw got picked a lot yesterday throughout some unstoppable matches as well as some immortal matches. And so I expect to see this Yorm be possibly picked here by Wild Inferno. Freya, the last ban. So they're kind of opting to have the option to get two strong gods on the side of Flourish because of this
Mhm.
ban of Freya. They probably could get the Ravana Jormungandr if they wanted to put the Ravana in the jungle, but there's the Ravana
Take
hover right
pleasure in
there
the
for Wild
crushing of
Inferno.
one's enemies.
I'm a chair two as well, so we got a chair two right next to me. We're both here analyzing what they're gonna pick and not get and stuff like that. But great first pick from Wild
Yeah.
Inferno. Let's see how Flourish can answer.
And
The
Flourish
end
heads up
is
Freya ban, just
now.
getting a throwaway ban so they can get a strong pick like Jormungandr, and there's more strong picks available. So that's typically the way I like to do picks and bans. If we're gonna leave strong stuff open, and I'm
With me,
second
you
pick, I'm
all
leaving a
shall
lot of strong
flourish
stuff open so I
and
can get gods
prosper.
like Jormungandr, Kernunos, who's probably the next best ADC after Hachiman, Marty Chorus are off the table. So definitely just a strong showing from the initial picks of Flourish.
And I'm sad to see that Kingfisher
I
is
will
not
leave
here
standing
casting
no
with me. He'd be
barrier to
going
our
crazy about a
success.
Kurnos pickup from Flourish right now, but he'll be able to watch this later, no problem. Ganesha, one of the high-end supports, you would expect to see him a lot in the current meta, and you are, because that's exactly what I saw a lot of yesterday in the games I casted. You're Why is
Who
Ganesha
will
so
rise above
good
the
right
rest?
now? It feels like he hasn't really changed a humongous amount, but people are like Geb and Kepri are still on the table. What we pick Ganesha. Is it just comfort?
I think there's a little bit of comfort. Dracull really likes the Ganesh pick. We see him go to it a lot. Also, with the meta the way it is, with
Come, we
when you
shall
take
fly
gods like
together.
Kali and Thor off the table, the rest of the junglers that are going to be jumping you are really privy to getting silenced by Ganesh. It just sort of just makes the job of keeping your carries alive so much easier when you're getting dove by gods like like the solo laners, like Robin, the good example. Obviously, Wild Inferno's not going to have to deal with that, but a lot of these solo laners and junglers being picked right now are just weak to like the silence.
Very weak to the silence. I agree with you because Susano is still on the table, and
Mhm.
that's one of those gods that you don't want to put into a Ganesha. So Flourish will have to take that off the table, basically. And they'll actually take it off the table to not let Wild Inferno have it themselves. Ganesha
Smart.
and Susano would be a pretty big problem. That tornado into the Dharmic Pillars is a pretty big threat. Merlin
Yeah.
off the table. This is something that we have seen Cosmic Warrior play as a comfort pick, as well as the Morgan Le Fay. And so, just not only good mages, but also really
Mhm.
good on Cosmic Warrior. We're on to our fourth pick on the side of Flourish, the Horus pick. We see Horus every now and then, but you were talking about his nemesis and sometimes his best friend, Set, being a large pick. This is still an option for Flourish. It'd be pretty cool to see both of them in the same game.
Yeah, set a god who we've seen in
You
the mid lane
shall
and we've seen
not
in the
pass!
jungle.
To my
Flourish are gonna
quarters, that
go
is.
to Janus, for Cosmic Warrior in the mid lane. So I'm excited to see the utility of Flourish is drafted between Horus and Janus. They have a lot of avenues to get their team around the map. So that's gonna be some. I'm excited to see some like maybe micro macro play around the map. That's always cool to see. But yeah, set a god that can go in the jungle. He can go in mid. So it's still a viable option for either team to pick here.
Yeah, and then Foolish
I
Shrimp
am
will
the
be going on that
shoguness
Chronos,
of
by the way.
sorrow.
That's FOS right there at the bottom right hand side of your screen. Izanami, the counter pick into Chronos. I've always been a big fan of Izanami. Just easily wins you the
Mhm.
first 5 levels of the lane until basically Dev Gloves comes online or whatever lifesteal item that Foolish Shrimp will be going for, and that's when they can actually begin to challenge Izanami. But before that, it's much more of a challenge to
Yeah.
walk at an Izanami in lane because minions are still going to be alive,
Time
and that's
to
the pick right
eat!
there that I talked about before, which is the Baka Sierra. Wild Inferno's draft looks really strong now. Would you agree, Divine?
Completely agree. I mean, Bakasura it feels like a steal, at ninth pick here. Just nuts that that guy got all the way through. We haven't seen him super prioritized, but we've still seen him dominate in whenever he gets in
Go,
position to do
Suku!
so. And combined with the early game of Izanami, Raven, Wild Inferno's draft looks scary, and Flourish are going to go with a Willix for their last pick. It makes a lot of sense with, Jorm, in the Tremors, he can knock someone up. The Willix can pull off of it. Talk about synergy with Horus as well. So a lot of ways that Willis can get that gravity surge off without her having to sort of commit herself in fights. So it seems like that's what Flourish is looking for.
Yeah, and I always, whenever an Wheelix is on my team, I know that she hates it. Whoever plays it
Yeah.
hates it when they're like, "All right, I'm gonna pick the Vulcan for you. I'm gonna pick the Atlas for you,"
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's like, stop it, stop picking around
Yeah.
my Wheelix. I don't need throws. But in this case, you have Bakasir and Izanami, who both have to put themselves in pretty bad
Mhm.
positions if they're going to try to get away from a Wheelix or have beads or Magi's blessing on them, and that goes the same for the help that's going to come from both Horus and Jormungandr. As you said, the Trimmers. This is probably. Are you assuming that's a Horus support and a Jormungandr solo? That's what I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah. I would. Jordan Ganner has dominated the solo lane so far. I'd expect to see him in the solo and Horus, being the support, helping with, dealing with Izanami and uh, assisting the Cornunos. It just makes the most sense to me.
Lots of healing going on.
Mhm.
And talking to me about the matchup in the soul lane specifically. I expect that to be a Ravana solo. So Ravana versus Jormungandr. How do you feel about that?
It's an odd matchup because they both have areas where they exceed and areas where they're going to be a little bad. Robin's going to be super, aggressive, trying to kill the German Gander, but World Serpent's not going to let that happen most of the time. So it's going to come down to who plays that matchup a little better.
Well, we don't have to wait too much longer. Let's go ahead and get into the game. Wild Inferno versus Flourish for our Divine Division. SDL fans, we are here, level 2 in the mid lane. Joining me is DivineApe in the chair 2, and on camera is iNooblet. Let's go ahead and jump right into this like Weeby is right now. How do you feel about this early game in the mid lane? VenomHQ is going to be on this Discordia, and then we have Cosmic Warrior on the Giannis. Who wins these matchups?
I'd give the matchup favor to the Bakasura and Discordia. Um, Smart for Wild Inferno to be super aggressive this early. They have pressure in most lanes. Robin's gonna have, you know, the early wave pressure on Jormungandr. Katamatic on the Izanami is gonna have, you know, just big wave clear, you know, over Flourish. And oh man,
Oh man,
Terminator's getting real low over here.
Terminator had to get out right there. As he speaks about the trimmer, there it is, being used to get out as fast as possible. But still in the lane right now. Ravana is not something I would expect just to be able to bully this hard into the lane. A really strong wave clear. Here was the rotation from Royalty into the right side of the map, right behind Indigo. Indigo has no awareness of this right now, and going into the attack, and there's the awareness being made. Will not be able to get the pool off, and actually instead walking into the Jormungandr saying, let's go ahead and take this 2v1 again. We will walk away with barely any of their health on their health bar. Indigo almost winning a 1v2 situation, but instead no one's going to take a loss here. I did not expect to see that big of a rotation. And then in the mid lane, we also see a big jump coming from TheWeebyFiji. Cosmic Warrior going to go ahead and portal out, escape. That's one of the advantages of having a Giannis on your team. I also just love Giannis players. I don't know who you like in the mid lane, but I love Giannis.
Oh, I don't. That God, no, I'm totally kidding. No, Giannis is great. My only issue with Giannis is you really only have one damaging ability. So what's really impressive to watch about him is like where they pick their spots, because that's sort of like the entire God. It's sort of just like dancing around, being elusive and evasive, and then picking your spot really well. It's really impressive to see, but something Giannis players on my team don't do so well. You know.
That's what happens at 800 LMR, right? DivineApe,
yeah,
let's go ahead and chill out.
Oh, I'm way lower than that, but
fair enough. I do like to see the Giannis in the mid lane just because of the rotation ability of it. But speaking of rotation ability, Dracull and Katamatic over here pressuring the pro buff, but we see FullOfShrimp and Waaav walking into this. Secure will come out. Actually ended up for the red team here. Flourish will secure it, and Dracull will be your first blood. Great rotation from Royalty 2400 to make sure his dual lane gets that kill. 1-0 in the way of Flourish. A failed invade from Wild Inferno will probably throw this in the way of Flourish more than they would wish.
Yeah, we talked about Wild Inferno's draft and how it's a bit more early game. You know, you have Discordia giving whoever has the top damage that passive, you know, pressure from Izanami, Robin, Bakasura, and giving up the first blood is just going to put Flourish in a position to sort of just pass over that early game pressure that Wild Inferno has just drafted, and that's just not a good look, especially because two members of Flourish got the assist bounty as well as the first blood onto Royalty, who's going to be able to show his presence everywhere.
And Waaav now in the position of being pressured out. Katamatic looking for revenge for her own support getting picked just a couple seconds ago, but instead finds herself in a really low position. FullOfShrimp is going to chase out the kill here, possibly get the last base act needed, but it will not be enough to get the kill. Opting for the shield buff as Wave still met in the left-hand side. Katamatic standing in the left-hand side, waiting for that dash out from Venom, trying to survive from the big gank of Royal. Cosmic Warrior will use space and time, will not land the ultimate. Out of mana, forced out to use beads right there. Rotation coming out from TheWeebyFiji into the left lane. Waaav is still here at very low health, very low mana. Under the tower now, I would not expect a dive to come out here from Bakasura. It would be ridiculous if he did. And still in the mid lane right now is VenomHQ alive and well. So no kills after two ganks occurred, one in mid and one on the left side of the map.
And Venom was off the skin of his teeth. He saw a Willix use that gravity surge just a little too late. Discordia leap, just one that's so hard to gauge because you don't see her like in the air. And I put that in quotes, but it's like you can pull the Discordia, but you know, Venom choosing to go for like a lower leap just to sort of bait out the gravity surge and just get her invisibility off. And that's really what Royalty was just did a little too late to get that pull, and we surely see her go down if he does.
Royalty is pretty deep in the jungle. Speaking of him, TheWeebyFiji is here in the position to possibly take the attack or be attacked. TheWeebyFiji will be pulled. There it is. Gravity pull already down. Regurgitate used onto 2. Missed about half his base attacks. Will be the kill onto Royalty. Great 2v1 from TheWeebyFiji. Great 4v1 against Waaav right there. Cosmic Warrior trying to run away while his support was in a really bad position. Will escape with his own life. Wild Inferno swing this back into their favor 2-1. And now there's a fight in the right-hand side of the map. Terminator still getting bullied out in the solo lane. This is something that we were not expecting to happen in the solo lane so badly, because Jormungandr just has a great wave clear, but with how strong Ravana is right now with Soul Eater, but that's not what he goes for. Look at what he got. He got not heavy hammer, excuse me, Frostbound hammer, right?
Yeah, Frostbound's a really interesting pick here. One I didn't anticipate, but once you think about it, Jorm is such a slow god. He really doesn't have a big escape, and if he gets auto-attacked by Robin, he's going to have to slowly walk to his base while taking all of Robin's damage. And that's the reason why he's not able to walk up to these waves, because Indigo will just it'll be so easy for him because Jorm will be so slow, and Jorm will be in such danger just from walking up.
I like to see these items that I have not seen in quite a while. We've seen Hasten Fatalis on gods like Bakasura, Kali, Vamana, and them usually are stacked with Krat. Those items are usually sticked with Krat. I called it Krat, not crit. I like that too. They should add a Krat stat to this game.
Oh, they should.
Just replace crit and go the negative way. You get negative attack damage or something like that. But either way, we have the crit is out of the meta right now. Instead, people are just going for the damage. Cosmic Warrior looking to get Krat himself right now, but actually will escape. Oh, but barely, with a big old golden apple from the wonderful looking VenomHQ, as well as the cleanup kill coming from VenomHQ. This is quickly rolling out of the way of Flourish. Royal T is in the left side of the jungle, not there in the mid lane with his team, that actually just ended up taking a 2-0 loss for their troubles, and a rotation coming from Weeby into the left side of the jungle, looking for the kill onto FullOfShrimp, doing a clean early game triple kill is what it would have been if they would have been able to get the FullOfShrimp kill on the left hand side of the map. But instead, just go ahead and go back to mid, get some farms, still away from some camps. But man, this is rolling very quickly into Wild Inferno's way.
The game started off so back and forth, with Flourish getting that first blood, and then Wild Inferno getting the second kill off the back of Weeby. But now it looks like it's all Wild Inferno's favor. Weeby's looking for more.
Yeah, he's not going to actually end up getting more. Waaav is here with the wonderful ultimate of Horus onto the ground. Will not do much with it. Just go ahead and make sure that FullOfShrimp is not going to be picked here. Shellcamp is going to be the next place to challenge for that on the left-hand side. But in the mid lane, we do have VenomHQ and Dracull just standing here doing a little bit of a dancey dance. Early game dances are very typical, and that buff will go the way of Flourish. And Weeby says, you might have overstepped your boundaries here because I want to get some kills. I am the dual laner now, but will not end up getting any kills. Space and Time will land straight onto VenomHQ's face. No one in the area from Flourish to secure that kill, though. Actually, the one person that's in the bad position would be Cosmic Warrior, but instead will portal out. 4 members of Flourish on this side of the map, 4 members of Wild Inferno on this side of the map, just a little bit more spread out. Royalty was looking for the invade onto this purple buff, but will not end up getting, thanks to Eat Minion from VenomHQ. Dracull looking to own Royalty out and Regurgitate being used. VenomHQ chasing out 2 members. We've seen this before, and it has not gone the way of Flourish, and it will not go their way. Actually, it will go their way this time because of a great gravity pull from Royalty, getting 2 kills to swing their way. Izanami as well as Bakasura falling. Dracull looking to be the next victim of the Flourish kill train here, but actually will get into the T1 on the left-hand side. What a pull there. I thought that for sure was not going to go the way of Flourish, but because of Wheelix doing that. But speaking of not going Flourish's way, Indigo finally will do it and get the kill in the solo lane. A solo kill onto Terminator was not what Flourish needed after that win on the left-hand side of the map. And Cosmic Warrior, we've seen this multiple times this game where he is down to a tick of his health, and we've seen it as well for VenomHQ. But a 3-level lead in the mid lane means that VenomHQ is hitting for about 4 times the amount of damage that Cosmic Warrior is hitting for right now.
And who else is hitting for 4 times the damage than normally? What is this? Robin. He's got the Discordia passive on him, so he just has so much more power. And Terminator just not ready for the damage output. He dies with World Serpent active, which is almost all the time like a free escape for Jormungandr when he's in danger in that solo lane.
In danger he was, probably should have used it. Tainted Steel will be his first pickup against Ravana, which makes total sense Ravana really not looking for the lifestyle build. We've seen him build Soul Eater and items like that, but as we said before, Frostbound Hammer going into Prophetic Cloak now, and it's a second item, pick up Prophetic Cloak. Speaking of Indigo, though, on this Ravana with Prophetic Cloak, getting ganked here while trying to 1v1 Terminator. This did not go the way of Flourish the previous time. Actually, Indigo almost 2v1'd them by himself. A great immunity frame will be used there, but there's the gravity pull, and Royalty will secure the kill. But VenomHQ is here to try and clean up Royalty and will get that first kill. Terminator gonna go ahead and use Royal Serpent this time to escape, hopefully get far away from the rest of the team. Cosmic Warrior has made the late fight rotation into the lane, but the fight is already over. A 1-for-1 trade, Indigo for Royalty, but a great late rotation from the Bogasera then, and a 1v1 FullOfShrimp versus Katamatic, 1 level lead for FullOfShrimp, and this fight is still going on over here. Cosmic Warrior has been in this position before as well, and iTerminatorr still in the area, ready to take the fight if need be. A great unstable vortex into Portal will secure the kill, as well as a golden apple return from VenomHQ onto Cosmic Warrior. Shell will be used, and Waaav is the only one doing damage onto anyone on that team. The 1v1 quickly swaps in the left-hand side to get a kill onto Katamatic. VenomHQ and Dracull running away because Royalty is back with a vengeance. The Feather Step will not secure the kill onto Venom, but the jump will. VenomHQ will fall here. Indigo is back into this fight again. Waaav is the next target for Indigo and will not look to secure the kill until those big old fists are able to come out from Indigo and get the kill. Royalty is the target now for Wild Inferno. 7-7 is your scoreline. This entire fight ends up with a tie, basically, but kind of the way of Flourish, because I believe they were behind by about 2 kills. And guess what's up for them? The cherry on the top, it's the Stygian Beacon.
And I thought that fight would never stop, and it doesn't look like it's going to. So they're looking to contest the Beacon.
Beacon is being in contest right now. Royalty trying to get out of this situation. 2 jumps being used in sync like synchronized swimmers. VenomHQ finds 2. Cosmic Warrior was still there at about quarter health, but because of the jump from VenomHQ and Indigo, put himself in a really bad position. Terminator here at basically full health, but come back up and find himself at about a quarter of his health, and then at 0% of his health thanks to a great old base attack from Indigo. This Stygian Beacon is a really extended fight. The only person here to defend it on the side of Flourish would be Waaav, but will probably opt to retreat from this entire fight. 10-7 is your scoreline. I'm going to pass this back to you to go ahead and summarize what just happened, if you can even.
There's a lot to break down there. It all starts on the back of Indigo getting that solo kill on Terminator. Katamatic gets soloed in the ADC side by FullOfShrimp during the process, but then Royalty makes a rotation and people start spawning and they take too long and another rotation comes in, and that's just the chaos of Smite. Is Wild Inferno is going to pick up a gold sphere on the back of all that. But it's sort of something that you have to, like, in Smite, you really have to slow down when things like that start to happen, because even though things went up great for Wild Inferno, which it wasn't by design. It was sort of like, oh, Flourish came back, and then members of Wild Inferno came back, and then the fight got really scrappy. And I mean, props to Wild Inferno for, you know, sort of taking advantage of all the chaos and getting a gold for at the tail end of it. It's something that just didn't seem like it was in their hands.
Didn't seem like it was in either one of their hands, because at one point there, it just felt like they were just swinging at whoever was in front of them, right? Both teams were just like, if you walk at me, I'm going to kill you. And we've seen how aggressive, especially VenomHQ and Indigo have been this game. Indigo specifically in the soul lane, but VenomHQ across the entire map. I expected that to happen for Wild Inferno. It's just they saw a player and jump at them. But because 3 people came back up on the side of Flourish that were all dead just a couple seconds before, it must have caught them a little bit off guard, especially Weeby and the support from Wild Inferno being Dracull did not expect to see, oh my goodness, Royalty is back again. We had just killed him. But Dracull is in between 3 members of Flourish right now, but does not feel the threat of anything. We have a lot of high levels here, a lot of low levels, very, very big discrepancy between the levels across the entire map. I think we only have 3 people are level 14 or 4 people are level 14, but then we have as low as level 10 going on right now from both of our supports, level 12 in the soul lane. A lot of big differences across the entire map, and especially in the soul lane. We've talked about this a couple of times, but Indigo is looking really good in this Ravana, and I think that's not going to stop anytime soon, because the Prophetic Cloak is actually starting to stack pretty quickly here.
Getting able to get that Prophetic Cloak online around the 10-minute mark, it just solidifies that it's going to be stacked very quickly, you know, at full stacks, especially if Indigo keeps making these big rotations. You know, once that's fully stacked, Robin's going to be harder to kill than he normally is, which is super scary. And this fight's looking scary for Flourish.
This fight is looking very scary. VenomHQ is once going to go down first. Royalty will secure the kill onto him. Into the World Serpent did go the Terminator. Out of the World Serpent will he go right now, but Indigo chasing the kill down into Royalty using Blink, but will not be able to get it. Royalty says, actually, I'm willing to go ahead and take this fight if you're interested in it. Terminator chasing out the person that's been dominating all game in the laning phase, and Indigo is in between 4 players, but VenomHQ and Dracull are right around the corner, ready to take the fight, and what a great Discordia. Oh, wow. I couldn't have done that better myself. That was a 3-man taunt right there that could have been a kill possibly if the rest of the members of Wild Inferno were up. But instead, this actually will only be a 1-0 in the way of Flourish. This is a 10-8 scoreline, was a 10-7 before. No objectives will fall here as Pyromancer was pulled by Wild Inferno at the beginning of that fight, but instead, just a kill, a single kill and nothing else. I'm very surprised by that, but that's probably just because of how, as I said, aggressive VenomHQ is playing it. I think he's playing it right, and I think this Pyromancer might be looked at again here by Flourish.
I mean, Weeby is definitely playing this right, and so is Venom. We haven't really had a lot of time to talk about the Discordia pick, but it's something that, like, when you're playing against Discordia, you really have to be careful to not group up for Strife, because you don't see it happen there, but we do see a 3-man Strife, and if that happens 5-10 minutes from now, that's 3 people dead. That's typically how it is. The rest of the Wild Inferno can just jump on that, get yourself some free kills, and then potentially put yourselves into a position to win the game. You really have to be careful how you position against this Discordian. It looks like they're trying to kill Indigo, but Indigo's trying to kill them too.
Yeah, we've seen this before, and this is exactly what Indigo has done every single time. He says, why not go ahead and take this fight against you? But this is not looking exactly in his favor. Getting a little bit of a shield, though, thanks to Ravana passive. It's not going to be a kill either way unless Royalty and Terminator take a dive here, which is very possible. But Indigo has healed back up to about half of his health thanks to those fists going out, and the VenomHQ is over on the right hand side of his map as well as VenomHQ. This is not a fire giant fight. This might be a little bit of a dance here. I like to call it the divine dance, because a lot of divine teams, this is what they do around this time of the game, is we go ahead and get to the Pyromancer fire giant time of the game, and we get a really long dance. It's something you don't see as much in the godlike level, especially. I will say it happens in Immortal actually a good amount as well. Yeah. But like in godlike, they just initiate, they just go in. I actually would not be surprised if TheWeebyFiji were just to throw out regurgitate and initiate a fight really quickly, or specifically to see Dart McPillars from Dracull. We have a lot of aggressive players on Wild Inferno that could easily just walk at these guys and have no problem doing it, but instead we have a little bit of a gank over here on Katamatic. Royalty in a great position to possibly get a kill if he would like to. Katamatic will get the buff there. Pool will not land thanks to beads, and his Aegis will be expelled. Featherstep will secure the protections there, but will not secure their own life. Katamatic will die thanks to a wonderful looking Suki jump onto the head from a Wheelix. Sadly, this is not Eclipse here from Flourish, because that's the Wheelix team. VenomHQ rotating here, and a Stygian Beacon will come over. I'll let you go ahead and take this fight for just a little bit, because it's going to be a little bit of a dance, I think.
Yeah, it looks like they're dancing around the beacon. I'm interested to see how they sort of like start the fight. It looks like VenomHQ is gonna get in there. He has Regurgitate available, and he's gonna use it, and World Serpent's not gonna be able to get off. Oh, and it looks like Wild Inferno just secured themselves a Stygian Beacon.
That's what I gotta say as well, because Royalty has put himself in a bad position, having to jump over the wall, and Indigo will follow. Wild Inferno will secure the beacon here, but Indigo is 1v1ing Royalty, not a 1v1 anymore, 1v3, but this is something that Indigo knows very well. Switches his target to Waaav, will secure the kill onto Waaav. We have a 2v5 right now in the way of Wild Inferno, thanks to the picks of Indigo. Indigo looking great on this Ravana. We've said it in the early game, we say it in the late game now, as you see on the bottom left hand side of your screen, has the top player damage alongside Discordia. Walking towards this Pyromancer right now will be an easy secure for Wild Inferno. This is rolling really quickly in the way of Wild Inferno. How do Flourish counter this entire rolling situation that Wild Inferno are doing?
Flourish have to just play a little safer. They have to take these fights under an objective that's not Stygian Beacon. I think something like a Gold Fury that can deal damage to people while you're contesting, or something like Fire Giant. Those are okay fights to take, or under towers. But Flourish right now, they're just too far behind to take these even 5v5s. and they're still not out of it. We've seen a good gank, you know, just right before that fight on the Katamatic, got the beads, got the Aegis, and was able to confirm the kill. That's just good props to World Team FullOfShrimp. Once we got that pick, we needed the 5 of them to walk over to Wild Inferno and take a 5v4, but we just didn't see it in time.
We did not see it in time, but some aggression coming out from Flourish right here. I don't know if this is the fight they want to take. Royalty took about half of his health from the tower itself. Red becomes the target, and Golden Apple will be used, will not land on anyone, will dance around for a little bit there. 1v1, we've seen this a lot happen this game. Indigo versus iTerminatorr. Nothing to result from it, sadly, but this Fire Giant is the only objective standing that is not a tower currently. FullOfShrimp 1v1 against Katamatic. This went the way of FullOfShrimp the previous time that it occurred. Katamatic is a 1v1 lover, though, so we'll take these fights any day, no matter if they lost the last one. And speaking of people who have not had very successful 1v1s but are willing to take it at this point in the game, iTerminatorr is the other one. So both members of Flourish saying, you know what, even though I'm not exactly winning this game super aggressively right now, I'm willing to take these 1v1s in the lane and try to bring my team a little bit ahead and possibly get these picks. A pick in the right side of the map right now would be a word for a thing called Fire Giant. This is a regular Fire Giant, though. Not too big of a threat if someone gets Fire Giant right now, right?
Not super huge. It obviously it puts the game like sort of like the ball in your court, if that makes sense. So you see a lot of aggression. And like Cosmic Warrior's gonna have to hold out. Looks like all members of Flourish will be okay. But yeah, they're getting the Fire Giant this early. It's sort of like, it's not as big as EFG, but it's not as sort of like game breaking. But you definitely don't want to give it up if you're Flourish or Wild Inferno. It's sort of like you want so bad for the other team to not have it that it's something that you really have to keep your eyes on and make sure it doesn't go up. Looks
Wild
like
Inferno's. Yeah, looking for another gank, but Wild Inferno's on Fire Giant right now. 4 members are over there. Katamatic is alone over here, half health, and Dormant Pillars will be used. VenomHQ will use Regurgitate to try and secure it. Who will get it? It will end up being Wild Inferno. The blue team on your screen have gotten Fire Giant, but the fight is not over. Flourish are ready to continue to take it. I don't know if that was the best option for them because Waaav has already fallen. Terminator will get the trade back onto Dracull, support for support as of right now, but now a Soul Laner has fallen for Flourish. This is not going to happen in the left lane either, so Royalty was not able to make a move on the left-hand side of the map, nor was FullOfShrimp, so actually end up losing Fire Giant, but possibly could get a kill onto the TheWeebyFiji. We know that Royalty's ultimate is down as of right now. We saw it used on the Katamatic and the left-hand side of the map. Royalty trying to escape from 2 members of Wild Inferno. Regurgitate is down. Space and Time will land. And, oh, there was the pull, but it didn't land thanks to the beads. And a kill onto TheWeebyFiji. Really well done by Royalty to find the kill on the back end, though. Cosmic Warrior trying to get to his Spora and will end up getting to it. There it is, the big old fist from Indigo trying to chase down and will get the kill. Cosmic Warrior was in a bad position, just unlucky to have that person right behind them, especially with how big of a lead they had. Royalty trying to escape now, has the help of Waaav here again. We saw that was the first kill at the Fire Giant. This is another situation of teeter-totter. We got a fight goes one team's way, then it swings the other team's way really fast, and then it swings the other way's team, and then because 3 members are back up, and then 2 members are back up on the other team, just kind of like Nemesis got the balancing act of who has the lead. But right now, Fire Giant is on the waist of Wild Inferno. The Flourish are willing to take this fight, and Waaav is already down to half to a quarter of his health and will end up falling here. Royalty trying to fight Indigo, but Indigo says, I don't really care. Let me go ahead and kill you. That's 2 kills already down on the side of Wild Inferno. Now, there they are. The big old fist come out. Triple kill going the way of Indigo, and Middle Phoenix is their target now. Cosmic Warrior is standing back here saying, what do I do besides try to poke you guys? 2 very low members of Wild Inferno were there for the picking if they wanted to try for it, but smart decision not to, because Dracull and Indigo have been dominant in the way they've been playing this forward. That's not what you wanted from Flourish, but Wild Inferno are playing this perfectly.
And I'm starting to think Frostbound might be a core item on Ravana. Just the way he, if you look at these fights, every time he auto attacks someone, like they can't get away from him, and then they do leap away. Mystic Rush, he has Blink, and then TheWeebyFiji's fast enough to catch up. He doesn't need like something like a Fatalis to be able to stick to these people because they're getting auto attacked and slowed by this Frostbound Hammer Robin. and it is making it so hard for Flourish to get away in these fights, and that's all Flourish can do because of how far behind they are. It's now a 12k gold lead. Dracull gets sniped by Cosmic Warrior on the gen is insane.
Insane for sure. We've seen some really great ultimates come out from Cosmic Warrior that have hit and have created fights. We saw that just earlier. This is a challenge here from Flourish onto the Stygian Beacon. Katamatic falling down to about a quarter health, but Waaav will be the return kill immediately thanks to Ravana 3v1ing with VenomHQ. That is a three-way drop very quickly. FullOfShrimp has become the next target, and Regurgitate is up. Will secure the kill on to FullOfShrimp, and now that opens up, you guessed it, the Titan is there. The only person standing for Flourish is iTerminatorr. The rest of the members of Wild Inferno, besides Dracull, all have full elf. We have one ultimate up, but that person is currently on Grayscale. Terminator going to go into World Serpent to try and defend this Titan. Titan down to about half health already, and that is the call right now from Wild Inferno, is this Titan. They don't really care about Jormungandr, and it will be a Game 1 win for Wild Inferno. They take it 1-0. This is a best of 3 set though, so Flourish will have to try and come back. Ooh, I am very close. Hello and welcome back to the desk. That was game number 1 going the way of Wild Inferno. There's a lot to talk about because Indigo was just the player of that game. They're just dominating everything. But there were some other players doing a lot of really good things on the side of Wild Inferno. We'll have stats up here in just a couple of seconds. But give me your input on why Wild Inferno just won that game. It felt like kind of easily, but moderately easy, I would say. There were some challenges there from Flourish for sure.
Yeah, it felt like it was back and forth for a lot of the game, but anytime it was back and forth, you see Venom show up or you saw Indigo show up, and it went all in Wild Inferno's favor. Those two dealing so much damage throughout the game. You see Venom 30k, Indigo with 28k on the Raven, just making it so hard for Flourish to ever get themselves back into it. You see them get return kills, but they weren't sort of like on those two. Venom only going down once, Indigo only going down once. So it was sort of, the rest of Wild Inferno sort of like waiting around for Indigo Venom to show up, and then, Robin is just so dominant and so tough to deal with. I'd really like to see Flourish sort of take that off the table, maybe take it for themselves or even ban it, once we get into picks and bans. But man, it looked like they had no idea how to deal with it.
10-1 was the scoreline of Indigo, and that doesn't tell the entire story. As you said, VenomHQ with 30k damage and some great wardage out of Wild Inferno entirely, 21 wards alone from both the mid and the support, which is what you want to see on your map, is it being lit up in blue. Royalty ended up doing a lot of, it felt like a lot of big ganks were there for Royalty, but just not there as far as the damage goes. Did match up pretty well with VenomHQ, who only had about 15k. This was not a game of junglers. It was all about a game of frontliners. And because of how dominant Indigo and how that allowed VenomHQ and Dracull just to kind of walk at players, it felt like it just rolled out of the way of Flourish. And as you said, banning the Ravana, I think, is the first step for Flourish to go ahead, or taking it would be the first step of trying to possibly win game 2 here. As I said, this is a 3-game, not a 3-game set, but a best of 3 set. So this has to be a win here from Flourish if they want it to go to a game 3. Is there more they could do besides just banning the Ravana? What about their gameplay would maybe help? Is there a comp switch possibly as well?
I like the Willix pick from Royalty, but it looked like it really struggled into Bakasura. We saw an early engagement after Royalty had gotten First Blood where he gravity surged TheWeebyFiji, and TheWeebyFiji said, okay, put Regurgitate down, and the Willix can't use half her kit anymore. And then, we see Royalty go down from there, and we see TheWeebyFiji sort of, run with the game, on the backs of Indigo and Venom. So I think they just have to sort of, if they're going to counter pick, they need to be just a little smarter about it. I just think the Regurgitate was too much for the Willix to deal with. And that really made the game hard for Royalty to run with any lead or any early kill that he might have picked up.
Early kills, seems like that game was going to be much closer than it actually ended up being. And actually, I felt like it was going to extend even further. But thanks to the misstep of Flourish in the late game there, it kind of just went the way of Wild Inferno very quickly. The only person standing was iTerminatorr. I I would love to see this game too be a much more maybe have a lead from Flourish even. That would be really
Mhm.
nice to see. And I know that Cosmic Warrior is the captain of Flourish, so I expect that he is motivating and pumping up this team in the comms right now, ready to get them to go and possibly push out a win here because a 1-1 would be a really nice thing for them right now. Go ahead and get into game 3 and get a refresh in their brain. I think we're about ready to go ahead and get into picks and bans here. And there they are. Flourish will go ahead and go onto the left side of your screen, and Wild Inferno will go to the right side of your screen. Um, Bans, the only ban you want to see is a Ravana mainly. I think that's probably the best thing for Flourish to do right now.
Outside of the standard stuff, obviously I want to see Baba Yaga, Kali, Marty Chorus off the table, but Robin has to go. I think Indigo showed that he shouldn't have that god. Flourish could potentially look to leave it open and pick it for themselves. Terminator always been the storied, solo laner in the SDL. I'm sure he could pilot this Robin well. So if they look to take it, I'm okay with that too. But I don't think you could put it back in Indigo's hands.
Seems like they're thinking about it a lot right now. We're already into bank time for Flourish, and they will ban them Articuros as
Mhm.
of their first ban. Wild Inferno will have to answer with their own. I liked how Flourish did it last picks and bans though, with leaving open some stronger picks because of the ban of Freya specifically, and
Mhm.
possibly opening up the door to get some better picks. But instead, Flourish just got like the best pick you could have ever gotten.
Yeah.
I was funny enough that last picks and bans that the one god you didn't say was
Yeah.
Ravana, and I was like, what about Ravana? I had no idea that they were gonna dominate that in that fashion with Indigo, especially. Ganesha ban is gonna be here, banning out Dracull's Ganesha. As you said, a comfort pick for Dracull and something that he is kind of known for in some ways or becoming known for in this
Mhm.
league. What do you expect to see Dracull answer with instead of the Ganesha then? Obviously, you're going to have to see a little bit of the team comp, but do you know any of his other comfort picks?
I, th- I really don't know. I feel like he's picking Esha almost uncontested every time, but I'd like to see him go to similar supports like with that playstyle, sort of maybe like a Kepri or a Geb, because I'm sure they could pilot those well. We also saw a lot of early aggression from Wild Inferno. I'd be excited to see him go to maybe a more aggressive supports. We saw something like Horus last game, also does a similar thing. So I'm excited to see where Dracul actually goes because I can't recall him playing anything but the Ganesh. Yeah,
Well, there you go. It's
yeah,
more of a one trick. Oh, and Flourish are gonna opt to ban the Izanami.
interesting.
That's yeah, that seems kind of. Uh, I agree with you by the way. Ravana was for sure the ban, but they can take it right here. This would for sure be the option. Give it to your jungler. Royalty could even take it if you wanted to, or you can put it into solo or an iTerm. Literally just steal the build that Indigo did last game because it
Take
felt
Yeah.
really
pleasure in
good.
the
And that's
crushing of
exactly what
one's
they're going to do is
enemies.
take that Ravana. So great call here from Flourish. They're above and beyond us, 1,000 IQ type of level stuff. Because that's what you said. It's possible they would steal a Ravana. So I'll give you credit there for sure.
Yeah.
But I was scared there for a second that they were not going to pick that
Yeah, no, that
Ravana.
was
To shatter
you could see my face.
mountains.
I was looking stressed. I mean, and they with banning out, those comfort picks from Wild Inferno, you're gonna leave open more busted guys than just the Ravana. And Wild Inferno are gonna grab this Thor, who's been so prevalent in the jungle recently, so tough to deal with. It's gonna be interesting to see who else they grab here because I don't think Thor is as good as Robin is, but I don't think Thor's a bad pick.
Wisdom shall be my
Thor is for sure not
shield.
a bad pick, and there you'll get your answer quite early about who Dracula is going to be going to play, unless that's going into Soul Lane, which I would be very surprised to see.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
is
so.
going to be a Dracul Athena support, and so now DivineApe can put onto his tally marks and on his board of notes behind him, like a scientist, like Oppenheimer, can go back there and say, Dracul also plays Athena, not only Ganesha. So there we go. Got your answer. Flourish. We'll
Who
go
will
ahead and
rise
hover
above the
onto
rest?
this Discordia. This is not the pick. They're doing a little bit of a swapperoo.
Yeah.
This is we're taking every one of your picks that you got Wild Inferno because you were comfortable on them, and probably not a bad idea because that comp worked really well in Wild Inferno's way.
Death comes by
Yeah, outside
night.
of the Kernanos, every god Wild Inferno picked last game is not available to them so far. So it's interesting for Flourish to be like, well, Discordia and Robin sort of, made our lives a living hell. We're gonna do the same thing back. So I'm excited to see how Terminator and Cosmic pilot them, either the same or different, and picking up an X ball just see standard hunter. Maybe they should have picked the Corneros just to take all the gods that Wild Inferno played off the table. But I do like the X ball here.
I also like the X ball as well, but because of that, we will see a pretty comfort pick, I believe, come out for VenomHQ. Likes the Discordia last game and did really well on it, but Merlin, very similar playstyle besides the lack of CC because Discordia has plenty of it. Merlin just instead is a damage monster, just will walk out with plenty of damage. And that picture behind us looks super cool of Merlin, by the way. I love that. Sun Wukong, the ban going to be the first one for Wild Inferno. I'm surprised to not see as many Sun Wukong picks in general this match because he has been a very high end up pick. Rama, the response from Flourish.
Yeah, interesting for Wild Inferno to ban Sun Wukong as well, because I thought that Raven going to iTerminatorr was sort of a foregone conclusion. The Raven hybrid build is just so good right now. He does so much damage. He's so hard to kill that I don't really see Royalty taking him. He can, of course, and I'm sure Royalty can pilot it. But I was just certain that this is going to go to Terminator. So interesting for them to ban Wukong and Kuzenbo, who are most likely solo bans.
Most likely, I would expect Guardian for Kuzenbo because Flourish doesn't have a Guardian as of right now. So you could take away the Kuzenbo, I suppose. But I've seen Kuzenbo play a couple solo games. I like how Flourish have done both of their picks and bans. They did it last game. They'll do it this game as well because they're leaving open that option that we are questioning right now. They can put Royalty into the jungle with the Ravana. They can flex that pick so easily, which makes these bans for Wild Inferno just that much harder because this could have been going to solo the entire time. So they just wasted a ban onto the Sun Wukong. We rarely see a Sun Wukong in the jungle. But Wild Inferno are on the clock right now, ready to go ahead and get up their fourth pick. They need both an ADC and either a solo or a jungle. This is another flex pick in the Thor. We've seen a couple of people play the Thor solo, and I don't know if that's what it's going to be this game because VenomHQ played a basic attack based jungler in the previous game. Thor is pretty wildly different than Bakasura as far as playstyle goes and mechanics.
Different but the same in the sense that they want to dump their ultimate on as many people as possible. And we saw some big regurgitates from TheWeebyFiji. Obviously not the same mechanically, but if we see some big Anvil of Dawns onto members of Flourish that, sort of we saw position grouped up a couple of times. We saw big strifes out of Venom. Some big Anvil of Dawns could just decide the entire game. And that's really what Thor brings. And it looks like Flourish is going to respond with Ratatosker.
Yeah, Ratatasker is going to be the pick, and then Thor has a great dance as well. He has that little jiggy he does. It's very cute, and so that's a winning thing for Wild Inferno. Freya, hey, this was the ban from Flourish last game. Instead, they're going to take it. This is going into She Blanca ADC. What's going on? No support.
A fantastic question. I thought the Freya last game was like a throwaway ban, but I guess Flourish actually value it. But the question is, where do they value it? Perhaps it's Robin jungle or Robin solo. Robin
Discordia
solo, Rat
support?
jungle, Discordia support, or Freya jungle could happen. But
okay, so but that puts into question who's in support. So it would be Freya jungle,
Rat support
possibly.
with Acorn because he gets the big Acorn blast. It makes it really easy to stun out multiple people.
Okay, so yeah, that's
that
the
also
CC.
seems kind of silly.
So yeah, that'd be Ravana Soul, Discordia mid, Shiblanca ADC. All right, and the Susano is the answer. A slept-on jungler that was open this entire time, which means that Thor will be going solo, and Susano will be going into the jungle, Athena support, Merlin mid, and on her ADC is my assumption for Wild Inferno, but you're the chair too here. Go ahead and give me the last call for Flourish here. What do you think is about to occur?
Okay. Freya jungle.
Okay.
Rat support.
Okay.
iTerminatorr on the Raven, and then Cosmic on the Discordia ADC, Shablanque. But so because obviously it's fun to speculate on where they're going, but because I don't know, I'm pretty sure Wild Inferno have no idea where these guys are going either until they get in the game as well. So it's something you could do to sort of like throw off your opponents. But I'm so interested in what the game plan for Flourish is here. Wild Inferno have a really standard draft, and they're doing a good job of feeding Indigo the hot hand by just putting him on this Thor, a guy who could hyper carry the game, similar to how he did with Raven. Flourish, maybe they needed to do something crazy, and that's what they've done with their draft here.
I've casted you before, DivineApe, because you played in the previous seasons.
Uh-huh.
When someone does this type of pick in the game, because this is not a support pick, a technical support pick.
Yeah.
How do the comms usually go? Because in my understanding, how they generally go in the other leagues that I play in is they're like, "Hey guys, can I pull out my pocket pick? I swear, dude, it works. It works in ranked, guys. I swear."
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you? I hope for Flourish's sake that this is something that they either scrimmed with, or that has been on the table in the chat for a little bit. I'm guessing that's what you hope for as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and actually not even answer that question. I'll ask you in the game, because we are ready to see you in game number 2 of Flourish versus Wild Inferno. Hello and welcome back to the battleground of the gods. We have a beautiful looking Cosmic Warrior here, but beside me was DivineApe, and still beside me is DivineApe. On the camera is iNooblet. We're going to go ahead and get into this game. I had asked you a question. Waaav is your support. You got it, man. You literally got it. You are the best chair too. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. If you're looking for a raise, I'm going to go ahead and message Anthony, all right?
I learned from the best tier 2 Fenix, and iTerminatorr's gonna go down to Indigo in the very first minute of the game. That is not a good look for Flourish. I mean, they picked this wacky comp. They wanted to bring something different. Game 1 was sort of stompy, almost halfway through into there, and the way they start off is not good, especially because Indigo had such a hot game last game.
A very hot game last game, and FullOfShrimp getting to look poked out here. VenomHQ will get the pull onto Royalty. This is going very quickly against Flourish. This is not the situation that you want to be in, but iTerm looking for the kill onto Indigo. Might be able to repay the kill from just a couple seconds ago, but Indigo still here, about a quarter health. iTerminatorr level 2, currently a level behind onto Indigo. Rotation coming in here from VenomHQ. They really want to bully Terminator in the early game, opting to go ahead and get just this cooldown buff real quick, but Terminator hasn't seen the rotation. Indigo will go ahead and fall first right here, and VenomHQ looking to do exactly what happened to Indigo last game. A 2v1 is what Terminator was willing to take there. Royalty is in the position to possibly take a 1v1 against VenomHQ, but will opt not to. VenomHQ getting the kill onto onto Royalty early this game, leaves Cosmic Warrior at 0-0, a level behind, or a little bit less than a level behind in the mid lane, just looking to get some of that farm back going their way. 2-1 is your scoreline. This kind of looks similar to last game, but just a little bit different, not the same book exactly.
Yeah, if you're a Flourish fan, you're so happy that Terminator gets that return kill on the Indigo. With the way sort of getting back into the game works in Smite, like the comeback mechanic, is getting a return kill is so much more important than getting the initial kill. So Terminator and Indigo, they're sort of on a clean slate at this point, and Royalty is going to make this early rotation. Maybe get a kill on Indigo.
Ooh, thankfully, there's the hammer out. Will actually save Indigo's life. Royalty is only level 2 right now. Has ganked solo lane, I think, now 3 times. Just trying to get some kills and trying to get some farm over there. Looks like Wild Inferno dual lane is trying to steal away this purple, but Flourish is fully aware of it. But Royalty is still looking for the aggression. VenomHQ has returned, almost got pulled into the tower here, but instead Indigo will fall thanks to the fist of Terminator. Royalty down to about 10% of his health, but so is VenomHQ, as Terminator will secure another kill. This is quickly swung in the way of Flourish thanks to the ganks from the solo lane. VenomHQ actually didn't see right around the corner Royalty backing right there. I thought that was about to be a kill in the left side of the map, but instead, 2 kills go in the way of Flourish on the right-hand side.
Terminator just playing this Robin pick, so well outside of that, giving up the first blood, getting 3 return kills is the way to get yourself back into this game. And we saw what Indigo was able to do on the Robin from ahead. And if you're a Flourish fan, you're hoping Terminator can do the same thing. You got to see Royalty sort of get more farm. You've seen him gank a couple times. He's outputting some damage. He assisted 2 of those kills on the back of Terminator, but he's got to be able to just get on level with VenomHQ.
Level 5 versus level 4 fight here on the left-hand side of the map. And that will be a kill for Katamatic onto Waaav, thanks to being level 5. Desert Fury just looking strong and able to throw away a Waav's life. That Ratatasker pick, even though it's a pocket pick, don't really know how to deal with it in soul lane. But thanks to an honor, you kind of can just deal with it by brute damage. Straight up just throwing stuff at people. I wanted to bring to your attention something real quick, as a gank might be coming in the left-hand side of the map. A little bit of a situation might be brewing, because VenomHQ's looking for a rotation, but the rotation has already been made. This is a very Susano type play. Blink will be used. There is the wonderful looking damage that Susano can breathe thanks to AA damage, but the return damage might come from Royalty as long as the base attacks can land. Blink was already used by VenomHQ. Not a single base attack was land. Valkyrie is still up on the side of Royalty, but nothing will come as of it right now. Cosmic Warrior rotating in with the Discordia will land the taunt. It will land just the damage, but not the golden apple. Will be expended onto no one. I love this little brawl that's occurring because it shows that there's early game pressure from everyone, and a lot of these games can kind of just go boring in the jungle. But even though it's not been boring at all this game, where you have 6 kills and it's only been 5 minutes in this game, and 800 gold lead and an XP lead going the way of Wild Inferno as we speak. It's not too far out of the hands of Flourish right now. This is a steal for the blue buff coming out for Terminator though.
Yeah, and as we see these two solo laners slap each other, I just want to think about like what rat support brings to a team, and I'm looking at these early games on the FullOfShrimp, and it is so hard for Rat to keep this guy alive. I mean, like he's got an Acorn Blast, really can only stun one person. You know, surely he upgrades into the bigger Acorn Blast, where it's easier to stun multiple people, but Waaav is really gonna struggle at keeping his team alive. I almost want him to sort of be more aggressive and just be another diver with Terminator, and I guess Royal won't be diving either, so I guess it is sort of all on Waaav and Terminator to be, you know, these dive in the backline.
Do you have a favorite like sports team? Or actually, let me ask you this: you're watching Evo today. You do have a favorite sports team, but let me go ahead and go to Evo first. Do you have a favorite character in Street Fighter?
Yes, they are called Manon. They're a French ballet judo fighter.
Got you. Okay, so if you like Manon, tell me why Indigo has gotten Frostbound Hammer twice in 2 games in a row on Thor and Ravana. It made sense for me on Ravana, but on Thor?
Yeah, Frostbound Ravana, I will die on that hill. Thor, Frostbound Hammer, I won't be. I don't think this is a great pick. I saw the tier 1 of the hammer, and I thought he was going Runeforge, which would have, you know, made a lot of sense. You know, everyone sort of does more damage off of your stun and your ultimate. But Frostbound Hammer, it's sort of, it is going to help. Obviously, slows are always going to be good. But I don't know how often Thor is going to be, you know, getting in there and auto-attacking. You sort of want a full kit and get out. A god like Freya is going to really struggle against Frostbound Hammer, which is nice. But no, I really straight up just don't like the pickup here.
Yeah, and that's a great pickup from VenomHQ. Wild Inferno can take this lead right now if they really wanted to and swing it back their way. And I'm glad I was able to ask you about Lenon and compare it to Frostbound Hammer, because now you're going to be calling Lenon Frostbound Hammer from now on whenever you do end up playing him. We'll see you at the next Evo.
Yeah, of course.
Playing Lenon. iTerm and 3 members of Flourish are here to take this blue buff. Is it worth it? We'll find out here in just a second, because Royalty says, I'm getting this blue buff. Terminator is 2v1ing, doing exactly what Indigo did last game. Dracull is here to help, but not help get that blue buff. But here are the members of Wild Inferno rotating in into the World's Tree. Goes Ratatasker through the Cosmos and will land really far away, just trying to escape thanks to being a support. You can do that. Anvil of Dawn will not land onto anyone, but that will land onto someone. Royalty going to go ahead and fall to Indigo here thanks to a great wall hammer combo, but falling right after will be Indigo himself. thanks to Discordia doing a lot of damage. Waaav has not totally backed out here, ready to take the fight even more, but Terminator is the next target for Wild Inferno, going 3 kills their way. This is a 6-4, and this fight is still going on thanks to VenomHQ basically being full health, ready to take the fight. Merlin gonna go ahead and pump out just a little bit of damage. VenomHQ looking very comfortable on this Merlin. 1-0, 2-1 for Susano, and 2-3 for Indigo. These solo lane kills don't really matter when you're able to come to these team fights and do exactly what Indigo did.
And I'm starting to feel bad for Terminator and Cosmic Warrior because it feels like Waaav and Royal T can do nothing in this fight. Like, they're not playing, you know, particularly bad, but it's just like the gods they've chosen and the roles they've chosen. They're just like, it feels like Terminator and Cosmic played that fight so well. And they were only able to get 1 return kill because, you know, the other 2 had to leave the fight so early.
Yeah, leaving the fight early was kind of what, you know, through the demise of Flourish there. And Royal T gonna see Katamatic over here taking the shield buff, but we'll say, nah, rather you not do that for free. Valkyrie is not up, will not be able to go up into the air as of right now, so we'll opt to go ahead and go back and get the shield buff. I like that this soul lane feels a lot closer this game, though. It felt like last game that it was not even that close. Do you expect a rotation come 12 minutes and the Stygian Beacon coming up? Do you expect a rotation? But speaking of rotations, here's TheWeebyFiji going to go ahead and make sure to try and secure this red buff for his own, this pro buff for his own team. Tornado will be used, will land onto 2 members, and Katamatic using Desert Fury to try and get a kill. Royalty will be the first to fall, and Waaav will follow very closely, trying to get the kill on the Katamatic, who is able to run away. 2 more kills onto the tally of 6-8. Wild Inferno, they get 2 more. 4 is the kill for Flourish. Cosmic Warrior dashing away, looking for more kills are these 3 members of Wild Inferno. Diving underneath the tower, dash was already expended by Cosmic Warrior, and the kill, the bleed, the fire from VenomHQ will secure the kill. 4-9. Gold Fury might be in the eyes of Wild Inferno now, but instead just a 1v1 situation over here in the secure of his own red buff coming from Indigo. But Terminator says, I'm not done fighting yet. Much closer, as I said, this game than in the previous game.
Indigo gonna struggle over here, but the rest of Wild Inferno is eaten on the other side of the map. I mean, it was so hard to deal with that jet stream from TheWeebyFiji into the taunt from Athena. It's just like such like large CC, and for so long when combined that Cosmic Warrior is gonna go down every time there, especially with Merlin, you know, dealing damage. And really, even though Terminator is dominating, Indigo's doing a good job of just sort of like keeping him here and not in these fights. So Wild Inferno is just gonna win everywhere else on the map.
Wild Inferno is winning everywhere else on the map is what is actually like is terribly going on right now. I want to see some objective push from them because we got 12 minutes here, and the rotation possibly can come out right now from specifically iTerminatorr, because he's in base right now. I think he doesn't have teleport up as of right now, but is walking into the mid lane, looking to go ahead and walk towards the Stygian Beacon that has just come up, going heavily in the favor of Wild Inferno right now. Dash coming out from Waaav, Royalty, Blink being used by VenomHQ, Flicker being used by VenomHQ. Valkyrie will be forced out because of the damage coming from VenomHQ. Tornado was used and will secure the kill onto Royalty. In the background, we see Cosmic Warrior being chased out by Indigo, as well as the ultimate being used by Waaav to try and pill out Cosmic Warrior himself. Terminator taking on 5 members of Wild Inferno by himself, and now Waaav will take the brute force of all of that damage and fall. Wild Inferno will secure the Stygian Beacon as well as 2 more kills. 4-11 is your scoreline. Gold Fury still standing. FullOfShrimp has full health. Cosmic Warrior has about a half of his health. So this could be a challenge on the Gold Fury if Wild Inferno decide to go for it. And it looks like they are, because Dracull, even though half health, is ready to go ahead and take on this dance. The only person in the exact area for this Gold Fury is currently backing, and that is FullOfShrimp. This Gold Fury will easily go the way of Wild Inferno. This is quickly rolling out of the way of Flourish. 5k, 3.9k experience. My goodness, what do you do if you're Flourish, Divine?
You go back to picks and bans and don't pick Brad and Freya. I really, you know, I really don't want to harp on him too much. I mean, but you see Royalty sort of position like they're in like a, you know, a hybrid assassin, and get blown up before Terminator can even have an impact in the fight at all. I mean, he was walking from base. And then you see Terminator try to 1v5, which he makes it out alive because he's, you know, Terminator and he's ahead and he's on Robin. But it was sort of too little too late because Waaav tried to step up with him and he goes down because he's trying to play like a frontline support and he hasn't picked one. And really in these fights, you just see everything go Wild Inferno's way.
Oh. Yeah, Wild Inferno going their way even more here. Indigo getting the pick onto Royalty after Flourish got the Pyromancer, so that's a win for them. But this is not the fight they want right now, considering the lead that Wild Inferno has. Indigo is falling down very low and will be the first falling member of Wild Inferno. The rest of them still standing. Dracull dashing in, looking to create some frontline pressure for Wild Inferno. The same thing from Waaav, but instead actually looking for a kill on TheWeebyFiji, and they will end up getting it thanks to iTerminatorr having a good amount of damage in the front line. Really unusual play there from Wild Inferno. I expected them to easily win that fight after Flourish got it, but due to some either mechanical mistakes, mishaps, or just not as great a positioning, not able to secure as many kills as they wish. Dracull was looking to stop the back from iTerminatorr, but instead will end up getting the back off. Fire Giant is up, left tower is down on the side of Flourish, thanks to the split push of Wild Inferno.
And Wild Inferno, it was weird from Katamatic to sort of stay in the duo lane there. And they knew FullOfShrimp was there, so Katamatic, if Katamatic shows up to that fight, you know, it definitely goes a much different way than it did. But Flourish been doing a really good job of capitalizing on the mistake of Wild Inferno. They just got the Pyromancer, they gave up a tier 1 for it, which is a good trade in my opinion. And then they take, you know, the 4v3 because they know Katamatic's not there because they see him in the duo lane. So, I mean, if you're Flourish, that's a good look to sort of get back into this game. You need to do more like that and just capitalize on mistakes that Wild Inferno are making just from being ahead.
Mistakes, yeah, I talk about it that in Immortal matches and a couple other matches. It's calculations and knowing your opportunities, knowing when opportunities show themselves and taking those opportunities, even though it might sometimes be like a chance. It might take a chance. I think they've taken almost every single chance they've been given, besides fighting at some of these objectives and not doing as much of that. This is, at this point in this game, this is just a brawl on the left, right-hand side of the map for the Soul Laners. Nothing's going to come of this unless a rotation is made from either one of the jungles, and Indigo is aware of that. That's why he's going ahead and backing out of this fight for now. As I said, Fire Giant standing. We would like to see Wild Inferno go ahead and push this lead if they can. Royalty is just standing here, menacingly looking at Katamatic, saying, come fight me. But while that's going on, Terminator is getting pressured out by 3 members of Wild Inferno. The dunk down was onto Waaav, trying to hit Cosmic Warrior, but actually ended up missing a taunt. Will force out Beads and Aegis. Waaav doing some good pill for Cosmic Warrior, but the one person that they cannot pill right now will be iTerminatorr, who has become the target for Wild Inferno, running down this right side of the map. And there it is, big old flames from VenomHQ will secure the kill onto iTerminatorr. Now the next target will be Cosmic Warrior, thanks to the dash, able to get out for just a moment, but not too long, thanks to TheWeebyFiji being Susano with so many big circle abilities, able to dive down into their Waaav. They are looking around, kind of like a Carlton situation. Where is the rest of my team? What's going on? And having to back out, give up T1 on the right-hand side of the map. This is not where you want to be if you're Flourish. I said that once before, I'll say it again. They're going to look for Gold Fury, though. 2 ADCs can possibly do this pretty quickly, and no one from Wild Inferno is in the area.
It's so ironic. We see Katamatic push a tier 1, and then Wild Inferno give up Fire Giant and a couple deaths for it. And then we see Flourish give up a couple of deaths in the for a tier 1, and they get rewarded with the Gold Fury for it. It's sort of like the opposite sides of the spectrum. Like, that shouldn't have worked out for either team, but it ends up doing it. And the 5k gold lead has lowered to just about 4, which is the best it's looked for Flourish sort of all game, you know, since Wild Inferno starting running away with it. I think Flourish just have to know that if, you know, you have to be able to communicate if Royalty and FullOfShrimp aren't showing up to that. They have to know to use those escapes like Mystic Rush, like, you know, Ratatasker's ultimate to get out of the fight rather than sort of going back in there. Because if they just leave, Flourish just get a tier 1 and a Gold Fury for free.
Free is what it's been feeling like for right now for Wild Inferno. want to see them challenge this, and that's exactly what they're doing. Flourish is going to challenge the Stygian Beacon, and you said this is not where you want them to exactly challenge, but also it could be a good fight here. They are in a better position right now, and that's a great start. WeebyFiji is a great first pick. Dracull going to go down immediately afterwards. This is 2 picks going the way of Flourish already, and they will secure the Stygian Beacon. This is a fight that this is an opportunity. This is the situation that you talked about. When an opportunity shows itself where they can take a good fight, they need to go ahead and take that fight. And they did. Goes their way. 2 plus the beacon. Waaav going to go up into the world tree here and look possibly for a little bit more. They might be biting off just a little bit more than they wish, because there's the Anvil of Dawn also going up into the air. Waaav will back off. Anvil of Dawn might actually end up going in here, but actually will end up going onto the red. So nothing to come from both going up into the air ultimates. Gold Fury is down, going the way of Flourish. So Fire Giant, still the only standing objective that has not been touched yet. 20 minutes into this game, we don't typically see very early Fire Giants. Usually wait until about 25, 28 minutes. So we probably got about another 10 minutes until we see the Fire Giant dance begin to occur, maybe a bit earlier than that. But great play there by Flourish.
Yeah, this has become something of a numbers game. It's sort of like whoever sends more people to these objectives wins, and obviously we'd like to see them be 5v5s, no matter which team you're a fan of, but Flourish, all 5 are on the beacon. They diligently wait for someone to walk up, and then someone does. Cosmic Warrior instantly deletes them, and then boom, you have a 5v4, and you get the beacon for nothing. No return. And Cosmic Warrior's just a little too far up, and he might go down.
He might go down. Bees and Aegis were expelled, but will not save the life of Cosmic Warrior. There is the tornado being used. Waaav is very tanky at this point with the build that he has going. The double spin, wonderful looking acorn, and then we have the Gauntlet of Thebes going as well. This is a fight gonna occur right here. Royalty looking to do a 2v1 situation, but instead will miss both end Valkyries, but will land the basic attack at the end to secure the kill onto WeebyFiji. This is a 3v3 right now, but now it's a 3v2 thanks to Katamatic doing a ton of damage. Royalty almost able to get the kill onto Katamatic, but Terminator in the back is able to possibly clean up that kill, and will. Royalty also going to be cleaned up by Indigo thanks to Anvil of Dawn, putting him to a great position. Terminator, 3v1 situation for him, but Waaav is in the air, ready to possibly get a good old dunk onto Dracull, and he will. There's 1 spin, there's 2 spin. Waaav, the support, will secure a kill onto the enemy support of Dracull. VenomHQ will return a kill right back onto him. There's a lot of trading going on here, but Cosmic Warrior is back with full health, but Indigo still has full health, even though he was a part of this entire fight. No rotations to be made anymore. No more lives. This is it. Susano is back up, but still in base. 2v2 if they want to take this fight, but I don't think that Terminator wants to take this anymore, nor does Cosmic Warrior being level 16 against a level 19 VenomHQ. Cosmic has fallen behind 2 games in a row now, but still has been present in team fights 2 and 4. I don't know how this works, but just the farm is not landing, but the kills are sometimes.
Yeah, I think Cosmic's actually playing this really well, but Venom's just playing it better. You see this, it's so scrappy, there's so much going on, and you look at his slash line, he's 6-0-6, so he's there for all of it, and he's living through all of it. It really just goes to show, like, you know, just the way you position and the way Flourish haven't really drafted a way to punish this Merlin. It's like, what are Freya and Ratatoskr full tank really going to do? It's really all on the back of Terminator, who's been playing these fights phenomenally, but really hasn't been able to get in and sort of get a lot of kills on these carries.
The carries are the name of the game right now, especially the 2 mages, because 6-0 on VenomHQ is the threat that Flourish would like to avoid if they can, and possibly get some kills onto it. Dracull falling down low while tanking this Gold Fury. This is a challenge here from Flourish, and the Flourish will steal away the Gold Fury as well as steal away Dracull's life, and there's another kill coming out from Flourish. They're coming back not only in this game, but in this team fight. Royalty overstepped just a little bit, will get focused on by 3 players, as well as Waaav overstepping, but the return kill from Cosmic Warrior will make this a 3-for-2 trade, but that's going the way of Flourish. 3 members standing going towards the right side of the jungle, probably looking towards the Pyromancer. Stygian Beacon still about a minute and a half away from spawning, just a bit more than that. Gonna go ahead and go for mid tower here with FullOfShrimp in the mid lane. Weeby and Venom are both here, both threats coming from Wild Inferno. Aegis being used again, and FullOfShrimp has become the target for Weeby. Terminator falling down to about 10% of the health, and there's Dracull's ultimate. Gonna go ahead and give some help to his two carries that are trying to kill this super tanky Terminator, and it will occur thanks to VenomHQ's tick damage. That's the last kill of this fight. Wild Inferno actually end up going for a 3-for-3 thanks to overstepping from Flourish. That tower didn't even fall in the mid lane. Level 19 now, though, for Cosmic Warrior coming back thanks to a good fight at that Gold Fury and a great steal from Flourish. This will be a mid T1 going the way of Wild Inferno. I'm losing my voice a little bit here, so I'm going to throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, big scraps, more back and forth, a lot of stuff that we saw from game 1. Royalty is level 19 here. I don't think Dracull is going down, but at this point in the game, we might have to start talking about a late game Freya and the amount of damage she outputs, and cancel that as she's gonna go right up into Valkyrie's suppression. She's so low. So
low she is, but VenomHQ's in the backline here. Looking at Royalty, has been the target for Royal multiple games, but just swing that back around because Royal will kill VenomHQ. A little bit of an overstep there from VenomHQ on the Susano. Cannot get out of that position after using almost every single ability. Speaking about out of position, Waaav is in the front line trying to take on this fight, but Dracull and Indigo will fall down to about half of their health bars. iTerminatorr here and ready to take another 3v1 just like he did last time, and he will. Here we go. Not a 3v1. Whoa, that's a big that's a big old jump into the middle of nowhere. We did not expect that to go that way. I was expecting it to go right on top of the 3 heads, and that's exactly what Royalty is going to do, is go right on top of these 3 heads, as well as Waaav able to secure 2 kills underneath the tower. This is very much so a teeter-totter type of fight. Flourish will end up actually securing the Stygian Beacon, meaning they're doing 10% extra damage and 5% going the way of Wild Inferno. We're at the Pyromancer again, and here we go, because this is a fight that could keep going what feels like forever, because FullOfShrimp will now take this tower. Royalty is in the backline killing VenomHQ thanks to the big old basic attacks from Freya. FullOfShrimp is in the backline trying to get the kills, but instead Cosmic Warrior will end up securing the kill onto Katamatic underneath the tower. Great damage coming out from these 2 carries on Flourish. 19-24 is your score. Pyromancer is the pull of the buff, and Flourish will end up securing it. The 2 buffs, this puts them back into this game entirely, is what I would call it. 1.2k going the way of Flourish.
And Wild Inferno just getting too scrappy. I mean, we saw them. We had, a little over a 5k gold lead about 10 minutes ago, and it was looking like there was nothing Flourish can do to get back into this game. But when you scrap when you're ahead, like sort of like these back and forth fights, trades are always going to benefit the people behind, just because there's bonuses for killing people that are ahead, as well as sort of just like getting the kill means less if you're ahead than them. So you're always just going to come out on top. And Flourish have traded their way back into this game, and not just back into this game, they're actually ahead at this point. And we're starting to see Royalty level 20, almost full build. We're starting to see Ratatasker with so many items built that he actually is a tank, and all the gripes that I have with the comp and all the things that went wrong in the early game are sort of coming back to bite Wild Inferno for not ending it when they had the chance.
Taking advantage is what Wild Inferno needs to do now. We were talking about how Flourish needs to do it, and they've done it so well. This is another chance they have. The Titan is pushing down the right hand side of the map. T1, Waaav is up in the air, will land back down. It looks like onto 2 members, but there's also the respawn Anvil of Dawn. Wow, Katamatic will fall as the first kill. Royalty is doing a ton of damage. Second top in this game right now. Terminator will secure the kill on TheWeebyFiji. This is not good for Wild Inferno, as a 3rd member has fallen, and then a 4th member has fallen. We are splitting up these kills, sharing the love. This game is, wow, just like that. Just like that. This is a dominant game going the way of Flourish at 27 minutes into the game. And as I said, Fire Giant. This is when you put your eyes onto it. We can go ahead and back here as Flourish, and we can possibly just get a quick and easy Fire Giant at about 28 minutes. And these fights are not going well for Wild Inferno. It's literally just the macro fights that are. It does not feel like they're as present as they were specifically last game. They were super coordinated.
Yeah, where was Venom that entire fight? I mean, we saw both the Titans start clashing, sort of in the middle of solo lane, and while Inferno had a ton of time, you knew the game plan of Flourish was going to be to kill the Titan and push up the lane, and Venom just gets there so late. Two people are dead by the time he gets there, and then what can he really do at that point? It's such a weird fight for Wild Inferno to take, and Flourish are going to take the Fire Giant for it. And now things have flipped on their head. Flourish 7k up. They have Fire Giant. It's 28 minutes. Things are looking scary for Wild Inferno.
What do they do?
They have to play under these objectives, and it has to be all 5 of them. That's sort of like the gripe I've had with them for the past 10 minutes is, we saw not all of them at the Stygian Beacon, and they lose that fight. We see all of them not in this tier 2, and it's looking bad for Katamatic. They need to all be together and sort of take these fight under an objective.
This is a regular Fire Giant, so the push for the Phoenix would have been a little bit brave on the side of Flourish. A little bit of a split up there, though. 2-3 split up. This is the tank and the solo laner up at the front line, and T2 is what they're looking for. But Terminator looking for that 1v4 again. He's trying to pull a heavy Warcry on the Odin that we saw last season plenty of times, was just walking at 4 members by himself and not feeling an inkling of fear. And I'm happy to see that's what Terminator's feeling this game, because last game it was not like that whatsoever. That Jormungandr was a little bit more scared, but also had to play scared because being behind by about 3 or 4 levels coming into the end of that game was not the situation that Terminator was expecting to be in from minute 1. So this game probably feels a lot more like what they're used to.
Yeah, I mean, just getting the Robin first pick is such a head to play in the picks and bans. And I made fun of Flourish's picks and bans a lot, like towards the end of it, with their later picks. But Freya's full build now, level 20. She's caught up in damage to Venom, who's been owning all game. She's caught up to damage to Terminator, who's been owning all game. She's only 2k behind both of them respectively. Wild Inferno's got to deal with this Freya somehow. I mean, Royal T did not go down enough. 7 deaths was not enough to keep them down for the whole game. And it's going to be tough for them. I mean, you have Susano, you have Thor, you have Dracull, who can all sort of dive, but once they go to that Valkyrie's discretion, it's going to be really tough to sort of lock her down. And at this point in the game, that's got to be their game plan.
Is lock down the Freya. Locking down the Freya is the big question. As you can see in that inventory is a 3k pot. That's a rarity that we see that this early into the game, but it's something that was an option for Royalty, and a smart option at that because of how much damage they are already doing. We'll pop that probably once they get into the mid lane. Here's a push though from Flourish with 3 members right here, and then 2 on the right-hand side of the map. Now 4 members in the mid lane and 1 on the right-hand side of the map. Biss will miss for right now, but clearing out that ward is iTerminatorr. Playing a little bit to the side, which is a smart decision for someone that can jump over the wall and just create a lot of chaos very quickly. Great damage coming out from VenomHQ. This Wild Inferno team is playing under objectives like you told them to, and so they're listening to you, Coach DivineApe of Wild Inferno Divine. Congratulations. I'm going to go ahead and give you that role after this game. And VenomHQ poking out a lot of damage. A lot of poke is what they can do, especially VenomHQ and Indigo, but that poke will not do it when Terminator's underneath the tower. But there is a great tornado. This middle Phoenix will end up falling, but the fight afterwards is what matters. Terminator getting the first kill onto Katamatic, and VenomHQ trying to run away from the kill into their own jungle. Cosmic Warrior taking a 2v1 situation. VenomHQ falling down to about 10% of their health, has to retreat off of this Dracull. And Indigo looking for the kill onto Cosmic Warrior, and the basic attacks will start landing thanks to Frostbound Hammer. Will end up getting that kill. VenomHQ running into the enemy's jungle, gonna go ahead and try to do a split push situation and running away. This should be a runaway easy for the wonderful looking Susano, but not an easy runaway for iTerminatorr with no ultimate. Finding Royalty is not gonna allow you to run away though, even with all the motions that VenomHQ can do on the Susano. This is a 3 versus 3 game right now. Only the middle Phoenix is down. Royalty and Waaav are both full health. Gonna opt to go ahead and get these jungle buffs on the left-hand side of the map. Look for the next Fire Giant, because now, 33 minutes into this game, that's an enhanced Fire Giant and something that Flourish would love to have right now.
Flourish has flipped this entire game on its head, seemingly, just off the backs of Royalty on the Freya. I mean, they have done so much in these fights. And obviously, Cosmic Warrior playing the Discordia really well. You know, he's above 30k damage, which is around where last game ended. Where the damage Venom had last game. You know, and they put themselves in such a good position to get this next Fire Giant that, you know, Wild Inferno, they've got to do something about sort of like just the aggression on these objectives. I mean, you see Rat go in, and you see Terminator go in, and they seem so unkillable. And you know, their big brain game plan from picks and bans has all sort of started to work out. But what can Wild Inferno do to sort of like get back in and win this Fire Giant? We're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's hope that the coach over there, VenomHQ, has to go ahead and align his team in some form or fashion to make this work. And this Fire Giant is going to be probably a big game decider. Really great positioning right now from Flourish, but they don't want to overstep this. This is a Fire Giant fight, and they don't have Fire Giant on their waist anymore. Good poke there from Indigo. This is the game. You know, there's no Fenix to defend right now, but you can still poke, especially as a Merlin and especially with a Thor on your team. Poke is the name of the game. The two tanks are standing right here at the front line, ready to CC anyone that tries to walk in, especially Waaav, looking really good on this Ratatoskr jungle. The scoreline doesn't show it, but 16 assists has been a part of more than about 75 to 70% of all kills done by Flourish. With that kind of number is a really good sign to have on your support. Not a typical support, but playing it very well. This is the Divine Fire Giant dance. I love to say it just because it's always such a joy to watch, as long as it doesn't extend beyond like 10 minutes of Divine dance. But it's honestly an honor to watch these sometimes, because they're so fun with the mind games. And here the mind games begin. Anvil of Dawn will be used straight on the heads of Cosmic Warrior and FullOfShrimp. FullOfShrimp falling down very low. Aegis will have to be expended, but will not be enough to secure his own life. Flourish on the back foot here, because Waaav is already down to about half the health. There's Desert Fury being used onto Waaav. Will end up falling thanks to the flames and the hammer of Indigo. Cosmic Warrior has to use the Aegis, will use it, and TheWeebyFiji getting a kill he's gotten about 4 times this game, right onto the head. And Katamatic with the last kill that they will need before Royalty might have to run into 5 members. What is Royalty doing? He sees them all, and there it is. You said it. What do Wild Inferno need to do? We're about to watch it. They showed us exactly what they needed to do.
And Flourish, like I was just saying, they were winning off the backs of, you know, Royalty on this Freya, and then they make the call to send Freya to solo Oni Fury, which does elect them. You know, it does get them the middle Phoenix back, which, you know, heads up to them. But what does it cost you? An enhanced Fire Giant, 5 members of your team. The gold lead is still in Flourish's favor, but it doesn't matter anymore, because all of Wild Inferno is going to be full build once they back, and any, you know, pots that maybe Flourish have bought are typically going to expire at this point. So that play might have cost them the game that they had to scratch and pull to get themselves back into. You just hate to see, like, you know, poor macro play like that from Flourish. And now they're on this back foot, and Wild Inferno are going to have to siege with this enhanced Fire Giant. And I don't know what Flourish can really do about it.
Yeah, their defense is not as good as I would say Wild Inferno's is. It's still there. It's still, you have, with Freya and with Discordia, there's a plenty of poke. And Xiblanque, once he goes into ultimate, can basic attack from literally like 50 miles away. Football field stretch is what exactly Xiblanque is known for, as far as his base attacks go once he's in ultimate. So the poke can be there and the damage can be there. It's just a lot different than a Merlin, especially in a Thor, and especially even in On Her and a Tornado from Susano. This is going to be a strong amount of aggression. And speaking of that, this is Enhanced Fire Giant. This is the first Enhanced Fire Giant of this game. Flourish only had the regular Fire Giant, as you just said. They're probably going to opt to go ahead and go for all 3 towers here, all 3 tier 2s, get that gold back into their area, because at this point into the game, gold doesn't really matter anymore, nor does XP. It's all about how you do these team fights. And so I'm expecting that DivineApe and I will be looking strictly at exactly what they do in these team fights and where their positioning is, because that's exactly what happened last fight. Royalty was on the left-hand side of the map. The person that's been winning in them every single one of these fights was a mile away from the fight itself, and had to come in super late and try to make something happen. Sadly, walked into 5 members because no one on his team actually ended up surviving through the Fire Giant fight. And I've been saying Divine Dance or Fire Giant dances, not very long Fire Giant dances. People are just fighting. Waav's just going up, or Anvil of Dawn is just happening. So it's really nice to see a lot of aggression from both teams here. A little bit of over aggression here from Flourish, going into the right side of the jungle, looking for Pyromancer, looking to trade out possibly for the Gold Fairy, but Gold Fairy isn't up. What is up though is this left side Phoenix. Great call here from Wild Inferno to go ahead and just take this opportunity to do that. But backing is Flourish. They're going to be on the back foot though, because everyone besides Indigo is here at Wild Inferno. Waaav up in the air, going down, landing. TheWeebyFiji falling down to already about quarter health. There's Terminator going into the 1v4 situation, pulling a heavy Warfire, but in the back line, Dracull was right there. This is a great, let's not fight this. Safe Wild Inferno. Great communication from Wild Inferno to back off of that, knowing that it was not going to go in their favor, thanks to how fast Flourish melted that Pyromancer. Really well done by them.
Yeah, Wild Inferno, I thought they would get aggressive on that. They had time to get aggressive on the Phoenix, but they saw Darkest of Nights come out, and then you hear the rat in the air, and you feel like the chill in the air of Flourish sort of coming back and trying to kill them. It was looking dicey if they stayed. They're definitely smarter than just get out. Also smart to just give up this Primal Fury. They have the biggest objective on the map. They have the EFG. They don't need this Primal Fury for the next one if they just play this next one. It looks like that's exactly what Dracull is looking for.
Yeah, they don't want to be fighting here. Flourish especially don't want to be fighting here because that is up and they will get out for right now, but very lucky to get out of that situation. Fights that they want to be having right now, as you said for Wild Inferno, is fighting underneath objectives and fighting at your objectives. Middle Phoenix will come back up again and will almost fall again, but thanks to TheWeebyFiji being there this time, will actually be able to defend his own Middle Phoenix on the side of Wild Inferno. Really well done by them this time because previous minions did end up taking the Middle Phoenix. This was the thing that held them back, I think, this entire Fire Giant. And speaking of Fire Giant, that's about to wear off, and because it's respawning in about 50 seconds, as you can see on the top left-hand side of your screen, this is the next big fight again. Let's see if Flourish can do it right, and they have to this time because I don't think if they wipe out 4 or 5 members this time, it's going to be the end of the game.
You can say the same thing about Wild Inferno too, because this fight is most likely going to determine the game unless we see some kind of 4-for-4 trade, which isn't out of the picture because if you've seen stuff like that all game, really, 25 to 31 in the kill department, we've seen back and forth trades almost this entire game. Gold lead, nothing. XP lead means nothing. This is all going to come down to this fight right here, and they're going to go on Indigo.
Oh, and Indigo's going to get up into the air. Thank the gods, he says, because that's exactly what happened to Waaav last time, was getting out caught by 4. Able to go up into the air and escape. A lot of good escapes on both teams here, especially with Through the Cosmos and Anvil of Dawn. Here we go. The pool has already occurred. iTerminatorr is ready to 1v4, but the rest of Flourish have already taken this down to a quarter of its health. This is going to take a miracle to steal from Wild Inferno if someone can walk in, but Flourish will end up securing the Fire Giant, and they're ready to take the fight right now. TheWeebyFiji trying to get out as the first target. Up into the air goes the Freya, will secure the kill onto TheWeebyFiji. Terminator falling down to about half health, but also Katamatic down to about a quarter. There's the kill right there. Dracull is the next target. 2 members standing for Wild Inferno. Great plays from Flourish to get that Fire Giant, then immediately go for it. But a great trade from VenomHQ onto Waaav. That's a tank down, and a tank that they probably needed from Flourish to be able to easily win this game right now. But instead, Anvil of Dawn will catch out FullOfShrimp as well as Terminator. Terminator looking to do a 2v1, but actually has his team right behind him, right in the same area. Indigo falling down to about 10% health. VenomHQ is trying to survive, has to use his Aegis, but that Aegis is not going to be enough thanks to Royalty as well as Cosmic Warrior. 30 seconds is the closest person you have on the Susano from Wild Inferno. This will be the Titan targeted. Flourish will come back and take game number 2 for a match 1-1. Guys, we're going to a game number 3. I cannot believe it. Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
Okay, before we get the stats up, Talk to me real quick about that last Fire Giant, because that was it, right? That was the game decider.
Yeah,
What happened to Wild Inferno? They weren't there.
yeah. They decided it didn't matter. I don't know. You saw that they were trying to get some sort of positioning on the Fire Giant because there's no reason because Indigo's standing up so far that that's the only plan they could have had in mind was to get some sort of positioning around it. But then Indigo gets poked out because they're all waiting around. He has to ult out and use Anvil of Dawn and goes back to base. But then the rest of Flourish sort of stand by like blue buff and just sort of watch Flourish take EFG, and they can't think that Flourish don't just win the game with that. I mean, you saw Royalty walk into 3 people in the Titan room and kill them all with that EFG. They had to have, if there was a time to make a play, it was before Fire went down, or they have to try to pick Terminator as he's zoning the 5 of them by himself. But that, I mean, that seems impossible. But they sort of just sat on their hands, and Flourish are going to take the game for it.
Well, we'll see if Indigo next game will build a Frostbound Hammer. He'll pick the Lanon. He'll pick his favorite item. But we can go ahead and start to look at these stats a little bit, because the winning team had a very dominant fashion from 3 of their main players, being Cosmic Warrior was here this game. Giannis didn't look as good in the last game. I think going like 0-3 or something like that, just not doing as well, getting a couple of kills actually, I think, if I remember correctly, but not as present. This Discordia felt a lot more present and actually matching and doing a little bit more than VenomHQ in the previous game, who actually played the Discordia himself. So these 2 trades that they made from Wild Inferno made a great amount of sense and did really well. 36k from iTerm.
Yeah, and I mean, not all doom and gloom for Wild Inferno. I mean, if you remember the first 20 minutes of that game, it looked like Flourish was not going to have the game that they had, but the Flourish played smart. They toughed it out. They had some odd picks that I still don't agree with, but I think one for a late game Freya, no matter what role they're in, is just going to dominate. And the way Royalty sort of piloted in the later stages of the game was almost flawless. Just the way that they were sort of just running down the rest of Wild Inferno.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go
Yeah.
Flourish. You can't really see it, but there you go.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
not. I'm not giving it the love it should be getting, but I got the mouse pad for Flourish because I think they have the best colors as far as like a team logo goes. Pink on green. Ooh, look at that. There it is in the back right hand side.
That's good.
It looks good, especially with your face right in front of it. You're so cute
True.
and everything, you know. My little Lanon main. I'm gonna keep asking you questions about like your favorite like sports and everything like that.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
we are going to be heading into picks and bans for game 3 whenever iNooblet pulls it up here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about what Wild Inferno needs to do in these picks and bans in game number 3 to make it happen.
I don't think the picks and bans have been bad from either team outside of, I guess, Rat support Freya jungle, but that ended up winning. So what needs to happen is I think both teams need to stick with what they think works well for them. While I'm gonna keep harping on it and mulling over like how odd the picks are, if that's what works for them, then that's exactly what they have to go back to, because Wild Inferno looked like they had an answer, but they weren't able to sort of execute on it. Wild Inferno, they played standard in game 1 and they were able to, just sort of like win through, teamwork and sort of like building like a comp that works better together. So, I mean, both teams just need to stick with what's working for them. I don't think I think Wild Inferno need to go back to that style of draft in game 1, and Flourish need to. Sounds like they need to do something wacky, so similar to game 2. Yeah.
Yeah, they need something wacky, and that wacky it was with a Ratatasker pick especially. And not even just to say that, but the Royalty and the Freya in the mid, it has been banned. We will not be seeing a Ravana this game. Bless the gods. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Thank you, man. That whoever had the Ravana just won these games, it felt like, because of just how dominant Ravana is in the solo lane. You just can't do much about it. You can't walk at a Ravana and not feel pressured. It's like walking at a tier, as I said yesterday. Walking at a tier feels like a problem, because if you're walking in a straight line, you're just gonna get fearless. But otherwise, bans have been pretty typical here.
Yeah, big swap from game 2 where it was almost all counter bans. Sometimes in a set, you mentioned me being a player. Sometimes in the set, teams tend to forget about previous picks and bans. I think Wild Inferno banning the Frey is a good shout for sure, because sometimes you sort of forget what was a problem in game one once you get to game three, and you have to think about what went wrong in game two. But both teams playing it smart. Flourish banning out Dracull's main pick in Ganesh, and Wild Inferno banning out the Frey that they had still trouble dealing with. And Indigo on the Thor again, or do you think this is going to Fiji?
Man, I am a chair too, so I get the opportunity to answer
Oh.
this question. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I know you're fine, but I am a chair too. So actually, I might have some intelligence on this. WeebyFiji, I hope it actually goes in the jungle because I feel like it might be more prevalent there, especially in this meta. I think you would agree with me. That because you said it last game was it just felt better. It feels better in the jungle than it does in solo right now, in my opinion, especially, and I think in yours as well.
Yeah.
But with the answer
rise
of
above the
Discordia,
rest?
this is a great answer to a Thor pick. Just an immediate. It's felt great because whoever has Discordia has also won.
Yeah.
So if you want to go ahead and win this game again, why not go ahead and keep the winning mid laner, which is Discordia. Yorm is still on the table though, and we've talked about Yorm before, and so is Bakasura. So those are the two other gods. Ooh, we get to see Sun Wukong solo. This is
Yes.
actually fun. We actually get to see a different type of soul lane matchup, especially if that's a Thor versus a Sun Wukong.
Yeah, Thor versus Sun Wukong, a matchup of gods that sort of clear the wave and walk away from each other, but with Wukong's clear being much easier to do and his clear not being tied to his escape, actually a lot of times we'll see Wukong sort of bully out the Thor. So I'd like if Wild Inferno are flexing the Thor pick to give it to WeebyFiji. I think Thor does struggle a little
Death
in that
comes
solo
by
matchup.
night.
That's what I like to see. I also didn't really like the builds Indigo went towards on the Thor. I think he piloted the Thor pick well. I just think the Frostbound into Prophetic Cloak isn't really what I'd like to see built, first two on him specifically.
Yeah, even with the nerfs to Gladiator Shield, I would agree with you because Gladiator
Yeah.
Shield still just feels so strong on
Right.
ability-based assassins in Soul Lane, especially, and I think it feels
Mhm.
strong even on gods like Sun Wukong, who are these gods. If you build it on Erlang Shen, I would question you. If you build it on
Yeah.
Bologna, I would question you. But if you build it on these guys that just, even though it
Come,
got
we shall
nerfed,
fly
just
together.
are pressing 1 and 2 every 3 seconds, just go ahead and
Mhm.
pull the Gladiator Shield, no matter what the current status of it is, because it just makes your damage that much more, especially in the early game. Here
Wisdom
is your
shall
pick.
be
We're
my
gonna have
shield.
another Athena come out. Go ahead and take that away, I guess, from Dracull, but he already had picked the horse, which I'm assuming is going to go into the support position, or it could go into the solo. So this is another situation for Flourish when they're banning here of that could be a horse solo and a Thor in the jungle, or it could be Thor in the solo and support for the horse. It probably is not going to be a jungle horse. I would not assume that.
Yeah, that's one of the harder things to teach about picks and bans. It's just like flex picks in general, and sort of how the metagame of it can get so confusing, especially if you're on the opposing end, like Flourish is. I mean, you have to think, oh well, Indigo played Thor last game, but he lost, so it's probably going to Fiji. But then you see Horus picked in. You haven't really seen Dracull play Horus, but he probably can do it. And Horus is also a solo laner. Indigo likes tankier solo laners. Horus is decent in the Wukong. And there's so much to think about, like where these picks are going, which is really why I always preach like just playing your own game. It's so hard to because there's really no way to plan out where these picks are going if you're on the NEB team, and they can also flex and just change it up at the last second.
Change it up whenever you want to. Morgan Le Fay and Merlin will be the bans, and Bakasura from the side of Wild Inferno, as well as we will not see another CERN. As you said in the previous game, I believe, or the game before that, was
Yeah.
that CERN is one of those higher end ADCs that is just nice to have off the table. Probably also a pretty comfort pick for FullOfShrimp.
Yeah,
I am
surprised we
the
haven't seen any
shoguness of
Hachiman.
sorrow.
We saw him banned in game one, but
Oh.
we didn't see him picked or banned, and we're gonna see Izanami out of Flourish.
Hachiman's open. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
What? That is,
Yeah,
I did not see that.
Yeah, I mean, Hachiman's open. I mean, Wild Inferno think they like the X Ball here. Flourish, they like Izanami here, which is interesting because Flourish, they probably want to get ahead early. I feel like both game one and game two, they never really had a big early lead. so I like the idea of picking yourself Izanami, on top of Wukong, on top of Discordia, gods that sort of aren't going to get far behind ever, and just making sure that you're always in this next game.
Yeah, always looking towards the next game, and that's exactly what these guys have to do because this is the last game of this set, best of 3. Whoever wins it, and you still have 2 more picks coming out from Wild Inferno, which means they're probably talking pretty hard about what has to be picked here to counter, especially gods like Athena and Izanami that are just so great in the dual lane. But they already have their dual lane. They're looking for a solo laner or a jungle right now, depending on where they want to throw. And this is a great decision. This is what we talked about, the flex pick.
Right.
And it looks like we're not going to know the answer because it could be either way. I would assume that Bastet is going to go into the jungle and that Thor is going to go into the soul lane again. That would make the most sense. But I played Bastet solo last night. It felt all right. It wasn't the best. It wasn't like something that I would go home and cry about. But it's there. And I'll let you go ahead and talk about Bastet just a little bit. But the Heimdall is being hovered right now on Flourish as well.
Yeah, and Heimdall, an odd choice here. With his Nami already locked in, I wonder where that would be going. But
Jungle?
I don't like Heim jungle. I mean, I didn't like Freya jungle either, so I don't know. But back to the Bastet, we have seen WeebyFiji play Bastet before.
have yet to see the
So that's
meaning
why
of
I'd assume this is
cruel.
going. And Taji, much more standard jungle, who does really well into gods like Agni, gods like Bastet, who just have a little bit of trouble getting away from it. From the Powwow, definitely a good pick from Flourish here at the end. But both teams going back to the standard, which is good for my mental at least. But
yeah, no Ravana.
But,
that's the other thing that's good for our mental.
Yeah, and no Ravana. So I mean, if we're looking at both these comps, I think they're both well-rounded, good drafts. It's going to come down to execution. We have seen Discordia win all 3 games. We did talk about how how Robin won the first 2 games. They also had a Discordia with them, so I'm interested. I guess my draft would lean towards Flourish just to keep the Discordia winning trend going. But I think both comps look really good. It's going to come down to who executes better.
Execution is the name of the game. It was the name of the game last game, as well as who can take those opportunities and execute on those opportunities. Because there were opportunities shown for both teams in the previous game that were not executed properly, whether it was bad mechanics or mismechanics, or if it was miscommunications or too split of fights, because sometimes, not usually iTerm, but someone would be super far out of position on Wild Inferno and would not know what's going on, that there's 5 people right behind them ready to take this fight. Agni, I like this pick. It's the first time we've seen it today, and it's going to be cool to see the type of mechanics that are going to come out from that Agni. We don't have to wait any much longer. This is Game 3 of Wild Inferno versus Flourish. We will see you on the battleground. Hello, welcome back. This is me, Fenix. That's DivineApe on my chair number 2. And on the camera is iNooblet. We have a couple seconds here. I showed my mouse pad before. If you want one yourself, you can go ahead and head over to our merch dono on the SDL Discord, or go to smitedraftleague.com and you can get yourself some merch, just like mine. And if Flourish win here, everyone that watches this video has to go get it. Dracull, already under a lot of pressure. Waaav creating that pressure along with FullOfShrimp, because those base stats go back and forth, but that might switch here in just a second. So there might be a kill here happen in a second. I don't really care about that. What I care about is the fact that Waaav is going to be that kill. And I was going to pass it off to you, but instead actually just ends up being the Wild Inferno way. So Wild Inferno will take the first blood of this game. Not a surprise, considering I think they've done something pretty close to that in game number 1, but not in game number 2. We might have a response here in the mid lane as we see Cosmic Warrior feeling comfortable again on that Discordia.
And I mean, that first blood going to Wild Inferno is going to just they've had the early lead in all 3 games, I would say, so that's going to put them in a comfortable position. But with the way game 2 ended up, with them having such a dominant lead and sort of just dropping the ball on the 25-30 minute mark, it's really nothing to go home about because of what we saw then. I'd really like to see them keep up the pressure and and keep this going and solidify their lead. The most important part is going to be not throwing that away once we get to the later stages of the game.
Yeah, speaking of throwing it away, there's going to be a challenge here at the Shill camp, 3-man challenge camp. Here comes VenomHQ from behind. And 2 members, the dual lane of Waaav Inferno, are not helping their jungler, who just tried to come in and steal the buff away, but now is here and ready to go. Shrimp will dash away, and Waaav and the 2 other members of Flourish trying to walk away from this team fight, and they will. So will VenomHQ, saying that's enough for me. I want to talk a bit more about the cat pick. You said that VenomHQ is quite, we've seen this before on him, but do you feel like in this comp it's actually a good pick?
I would say it's not a good pick in this comp, but it is a good pick against Flourish. We often see one of them sort of step up a little too far out of position, and then, in game 2, you would like Athena taunt them into like a ton of Merlin damage. What the Bastet ultimate brings is you can pull that person even further out of position and just make sure that they go down for their trouble. And if Flourish plays the way that they played the beginning of game 1 and game 2, this Bastet ultimate, it doesn't even have to synergize with the team. It just has to kill a member of Flourish, and then the rest of Waaav Inferno just swoop in and take whatever objective, whatever the fight they want to take. So that's what I'm expecting to see out of VenomHQ here.
That makes sense. And I wanted to comment on the fact that we're only 3 minutes into this game, but at about 5 minutes into the game, last game, we were at 6 kills, a 3-3 scoreline. So this is a much more quiet game. This is very typical, though, for a third game of a 2-1. It's going to go 2-1. Whichever team wins this is going to actually end up getting 2 points, and the other team will end up getting 1. But here's a big old dive from Royalty, and will land the pool, but beads from VenomHQ might actually end up saving his life, which it does. Great pickup from the beads on Weeby. I thought he had blank at first, but I actually didn't end up seeing it. Also with beads onto Daji. No one wants to get CC'd here in this game, which makes total sense. Waaav gonna go ahead and challenge this Syl buff, not along with his friend. Did they end up actually getting that? I think they did.
They did.
Because, Waaav stole that with the passive of Athena, or sorry, not the passive, but the basic attack that she gets after landing an ability. She gets a free little throw of that spear, and it's that's crazy. I've seen people steal that with Syl Fire Giant with that sometimes, but Royalty will end up picking up that shield buff and backing right at the corner. Dracull spotting that out. Thanks for filling me on the Bastet. Fill me in on this Daji pick. Royalty was on the Freya last game. This is a total swap of playstyle.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw a little bit of what Daji can do. The Paolo, it takes her out of combat and allows her to assess the situation as well as output damage and pull targets out of position. And what that allows is Daji to, you see like early dive a tower, and with Apollo doesn't actually secure the kill. It got as close as you can get, and it gets the beads, as close as you can get to the kill on VenomHQ, all while diving a tower, at level 5. That's what Daji brings to fights, just this early aggression that also smooths out and transitions into late game, because if someone's beads are down, similar to Bastettle, you could just pull them right to where you want them.
Anvil Dom being used over here in the right lane. iTerm will go up into the air and sit on that cloud for just a little bit, try to heal up as much health as possible. Anvil Dom will not land. We'll go ahead and just CC that little fake clone that iTerminatorr put out. And now it's the chase for Flourish. They're looking to try to get a kill onto them. Wow, there's a Horus. I did not see that coming in from a mile away. But 4 members on the right side of the map for the Waaav Inferno to make sure they secure this blue buff, as well as their teammate Indigo does not die this game. Not as brutal of a fight in the right lane this game, because no Ravana. I'm guessing that's why. And we said thank the gods and picks and bans. I'm gonna keep echoing that. It's nice to see a kind of a quiet soul lane for a game.
Yeah, I love aggressive solo lanes as much as the next guy. That's how I like to play the game as well. But I also like the Nazi Rob, and that god is just way too strong right now. And I think both teams, they tested with being able to go against it, and it proved well in either Indigo or Terminator's hands. So smart for that to just not be a part of the equation here. Something we haven't gotten to mention yet: Indigo switching up, going for a more standard Thor solo build, which, thank goodness, I really did not like the Frost run into Prophetic. Yeah. But going into the Glad Shield first item and getting the tier 1 of Manticore Spike so that this throws such a mana-hungry god in solo lane, definitely just a smart choice to switch up and go for a more standard build here.
Yeah, I think we both are very happy. We were talking about it in the picks and bans
Yeah.
about how that's your no Lanon this game though. Sadly, will be picked up from from Indigo. It will have to be something else. But speaking of Lanon, here's a big old French gank onto Katamatic, who is going to be put into a pretty bad position. But the powwow will land. Thankfully, the beads are on Katamatic, which means he will save his own life. Jump to see the next day. Look, turn around and say, ha ha ha! I have a CC immunity. And speaking of CC immunity, Dracull doesn't need it because Waaav just missed that taunt right there. But VenomHQ is around the corner, ready to take a fight if they would like to. But Dracull is playing a bit farther back. No powwow into royalty, but making a rotation into this mid lane, possibly looking for some kills. Terminator is still on the right side of the map at about 10% of his health. Indigo just looking for walls and poke and doing Thor things, especially with having Gladiator Shield now. I'm guessing it feels a lot better to have that instead of a heavy hammer. Sorry, what's it called?
Frostbound, yeah.
Frostbound hammer. I keep saying heavy hammer because that's the one that people actually buy sometimes,
Yeah.
or whatever the other one is. There's the other hammer in that tree, the newer one.
Runeforge.
Yeah.
No,
It's like a
Runeforge is the
colorful.
other one.
Yeah, it's all good. Well,
club.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the club one. Used to have a lot more on that tree, but iTerminatorr back, full health now, looking for the aggression onto Indigo. We talked a little bit about this soul lane and how we like it, but we can talk a little bit about the other kind of soul lane, which is Izanami versus Shiva Lanke. But before we do that, VenomHQ getting chased out here by Royalty. Athena ulting onto Royalty will get a good amount of damage onto Weeby. The taunt will be forced out from the members, and VenomHQ just running away as much as he can, but will not be able to escape. But now the positioning of Flourish is not great. Waaav is so far behind right here that he's gonna have to try to get out, but won't be able to. The dash to do between T1 and T2 was a weird call, but 3-1 going the way of Wild Inferno after that first blood, so a 2-1 trade. A little bit of a deep dive there from Flourish. Did not expect that to happen. What I was going to ask you about though was this duo lane, this matchup right here, FullOfShrimp versus Katamatic. What do you feel about this matchup?
In terms of players, they've actually both popped off when they needed to, in their respective Ws, but a pretty quiet game from both of them. I'd like to see more action, not in the duo lane specifically, but sort of like getting involved in fights earlier between these two. But in terms of the Jablanque versus Izanami matchup, this is kind of just how it goes. They both have really safe, good wave clear. So I'm really not hoping, but not expecting to see a lot of fighting between them without another member of their team sort of getting involved.
Getting involved is Royalty right now with Dracull. This is a little bit of a slap box fight because Royalty doesn't have all of the damage that he wants online, but VenomHQ has found a Cosmic Warrior in the background and decided to jump on it, almost getting the kill, but actually it's gonna fall through his fingers. Cosmic Warrior will escape here. Powwow is being used. It lands onto Dracull, but wanted VenomHQ will not end up getting it. Gonna go ahead and back off. Great stun there from VenomHQ. Will secure the kill onto Royalty. Wow, what a play there from Venom. That is a comfort pick, it looks like, because wow, I was not expecting that to be such a great two-man stun into a great bomb.
We've seen Venom pilot 3 mages this set. Discordia game 1, Merlin game 2, and the Agni game 3, and he just picks his spots so well. To when to CC people, when to be outputting your damage, and it really has been the difference maker in a lot of these fights that have gone the way of Wild Inferno. I'd like to see Flourish. You have Daji, who's really good against Agni because he has no CC immunity in kit. He just has the beads. If Royalty's got a target that he needs to put behind and maybe get a bunch of early kills on, I think it has to be this Agni.
It does have to be the Agni. I agree with you that it's a very serious counter pick to the Agni itself. And if that's exactly what Venom's going to be doing all game, is what he just showed us in the mid lane, I would for sure focus that in the fights, and that should be easier said than done sometimes, because Agni does have the dash, and with how hard powwow is to land on someone that's actually trying to avoid the hits of it, it's very difficult to sometimes get that pull off. We are quickly approaching 12 minutes into this game. It feels like it's only been 5 minutes because of how not many kills there have been. there is a 2.2k lead going the way of Gold Fury in both XP and towards the Wild Inferno in both XP and gold. The Katamatic dashing away here, but the dash response will come out from Royalty. Powwow will not be used because it's not up just yet. Probably going to want to save that for this Stygian Beacon. 2 members of Wild Inferno are already on the Stygian Beacon, while the rest of Flourish is trying to rotate in. WeebyFiji going to get caught out in the jungle by Royalty. Will not get picked, though. Just some damage out. Will use the 1,000 cuts to try and get some damage out. Speaking of damage, Dracull is 3v1ing right now, but the damage is coming out from VenomHQ. Beads forced out from the Powwow. Dracull will be pulled back in thanks to Dodgy's Powwow, and the kill will be gotten. Cosmic Warrior has become the target for WeebyFiji, and the kill will be made. Royalty has become the second target. Double kill going towards the way of WeebyFiji. Anvil of Dawn will not land, but VenomHQ's dash will secure the kill on to FullOfShrimp, who is here for just a couple of seconds. iTerminatorr making a late rotation along with Indigo, who used Anvil of Dawn to initiate the fight that actually ended up getting 2 kills. Indigo, great back and forth, but the Athena ultimate will probably secure the life of Terminator to get out of the situation, but maybe not thanks to the bombs coming down from the sky of VenomHQ. Indigo looking for a little bit more aggression, but it's not there. Ooh, but look who's up. It's everyone from Wild Inferno. Currently leading this game 7-2. Say, let's go ahead and get the cherry on the top with this Gold Fury. No one in the area from Flourish can challenge this. Great call from Wild Inferno to both get Beacon and the Gold Fury, plus some kills.
Big macro play from Wild Inferno, just making sure that they have put themselves in the right spot to get all these objectives. I mean, in the fight, you saw Flourish sort of group up super heavily on the beacon to try to be super aggressive, which I like the game plan. The problem is VenomHQ on this Acme was able to hit multiple bombs on multiple gods multiple times. And you know, you see Cosmic Warrior get a little too low, and then WeebyFiji is able to clean that up, and now your magical damage is gone. Saw a big Anvil of Dawn from Indigo come in and sort of scoop up a kill, and looks like Flourish is trying to sink this Pyro. On the front won't let it happen.
Ooh, it's going to have to happen right now. It was barely a sneak, though, because of how close that was to being a steal. Running for their life right now is Royalty, but there's 2 guys over here ready to take a fight. I guess not. I lied to you entirely. Wild Inferno said, we don't want to take a fight. I'm not used to Dracull backing up, though. That's a very atypical thing. Were you teamed with any of these guys ever, by the way? Or have you never played with any of them?
No, I've never played with any of these guys.
Okay, gotcha. What division were you in last season?
I was in Immortal. I was in ADC on Dark Omen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Was Lucent for the most part. Yeah,
yeah, Lucent. We love Lucent in the SDL. Yes, my goat as well as Post Drama, my other goat, my favorite supports in the SDL. No merch for them, sadly. You can only buy merch for the logos as of right now. But if you want to buy merch for the Penta Duck, you can do that one for sure. Not in this game. That's Immortal as well. iTerminatorr gonna look to be getting pressured out here. The Athena ult has been used on him multiple times this game, and there it is. We're getting a 2v1, but this is just a smackdown, man. Just no damage being done. It feels like, and that's exactly what it is. It's gonna be a nothing sandwich because both teams can just walk away from those types of situations. WeebyFiji gonna make a late rotation here and see that it's a Waaav that's in the jungle. Probably can only do that amount of damage right there, and then has to walk away. 3 members of Wild Inferno on the right side of the jungle. Only objective up besides a tower and a couple of gods over there is the Fire Giant. Imagine if they pulled the Fire Giant now. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be nuts. I mean, I really don't like either support going over to solo lane at that time. Neither blue is going to be up for a couple minutes. They got silver buff, I guess, but it looks like, hold that thought, they're going to Cosmic Warrior goes down so fast.
Yeah, you can go ahead and hold onto the mic. I don't have much to say about that because that was just melted, but I'll hold on to it because Royalty is around the corner looking for the kill onto WeebyFiji. Might have to go up into the powwow, but no time to do it. Will go ahead and fall very quickly. That's 2 picks in a row for Wild Inferno that VenomHQ and Dracull are going to have to go ahead and back off here. And yeah, WeebyFiji, Dracull, green buff free for them. And I want to talk a bit about how I mispronounced the name of a certain Street Fighter character. I wanted to apologize to you. It's Manon, not Lunon. It's an M, not an L. But we'll get iNooblet. We have to convince him to start a Street Fighter. It would be SDL again, right? So SFDL, the Street Fighter Draft League. Yeah, because there's obviously teams in Street Fighter. There's not. It's just 1v1s.
that goes hard. SFDL, yeah. I'll get on that. I'll just do the whole league. It'll just be me watching Street Fighter.
We got Cat's Corner. We got all these other ones for
Yeah.
our premium road.
Yeah.
We can do the exact same thing for. Looks like we got a pause here or something of that sort. Oh, or not. We're actually back again. A little bit of lag there, but oh, good. Pulling the blue bus. Not much to see really going on. 92 is the score currently in the way of Wild Inferno. Just running with this game, kind of like they did in game number 1. Feels kind of like a copy and paste of that, but Control F, Control V type of thing going on, or what is it? Control C, Control V, right? That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Control F. Control F is when you want to search the top of the bar. How are Flourish going to change this game? Is it the same exact thing as game 2? Kind of look for those opportunities.
Yeah, they have to force Wild Inferno to fight them. Wild Inferno is doing a good job because what happened in game 2 was, it sort of they scratched back and forth for 15-20 minutes, and then you have a late game Freya, and they ran away with the game. So Flourish have to force Wild Inferno to play that scrappy playstyle that benefited them so well last time. That looks like exactly what they're trying to do.
Exactly. They literally listened to you so well with Royalty pushing in so far, getting 2 Bs right there, but a pull was done. Waaav finds himself in a really bad position, almost about to die. And as I said, there it is. The 50-mile base attacks from Katamatic will secure the kill. Ox form will be used by iTerm to try and escape from the damage. Still can go up into the Heavenly Cloud and heal for a little bit. Royalty decides to go ahead and take a 1v1 against one of the best 1v1 gods in the entire game, which is Shibalange, will be secured by Indigo. 3 members standing from Flourish, 5 members from Wild Inferno trying to get away. Is everyone FullOfShrimp thought to be the target from Indigo, but instead going towards Cosmic Warrior. A great bomb from VenomHQ will make this a nearly deicide, but actually just a team quadra kill, going the way of Wild Inferno. This will also be another Gold Fury, and funny enough, the beacon's coming up right now. I expect this to be just a straight walk to the right side of the map.
Exactly. Grab the beacon and gold just like you did a couple minutes ago, and Wild Inferno they picked that spot so well. It looked like Flourish was getting really aggressive. The Royalty had a really good initiation. Wild Inferno, they slow it down. They realize they have their lead. They back off, and then you see an insane Bastet ult, which is exactly what we were talking about earlier. What Bastet does so well is Katamatic goes down, just got a little too far ahead and the left side of the map. But back to what I was talking about earlier with what Bastet brings is you're just able to pull someone out of position, and then Waaav almost lived there, which credits to them and just being a tank. But they go down, and that just makes the rest of the fight so much easier for Flourish, just off the back, or so much easier for Wild Inferno off the back of that Bastet ult.
Yeah, just creating opportunities, as we said last game, and that's exactly what Bastet is made to do. Funny enough, that's kind of exactly what Daji is made to do as well, create opportunities for the team, but it's just not coming through as much. That's the first pool I've seen really become a kill. It's only been 20 minutes in this game. We typically have been seeing these 2 teams group up strictly around, I would say, 24, 25 minutes, because that's when the first Fire Giant went down. In the second game was around the 27-minute mark, because after a fight, I believe that Flourish, or no, actually it was Wild Inferno was the first one, and then Enhanced Fire Giant going the way of Flourish after that, I believe, is what occurred, or Wild Inferno. I forget exactly what it is, but either way, around that mark is when you see group ups begin to occur, and that's what you're talking about Bastet for, and especially with Daji as well, is you expect to see opportunities created from those big ultimates with the cat pool as well as the powwow. But speaking of opportunities, Cosmic Warrior deciding to dash in to avoid some damage of the bombs that Agni can bring out of the air. But speaking of out of the air, Anvil of Dawn will be used onto Cosmic Warrior. Great combo, no wall to secure the kill as of right now, but instead the kill will be secured thanks to the bleed of TheWeebyFiji. Tower down. This is possibly a tier 2 push here. The call is a questionable one because they're kind of doing a little bit of a dance, and that question has now been answered, going towards Fire Giant or Wild Inferno, trying to get a couple more picks before doing that. I don't know if Flourish want to take this fight, currently being 14-3. I lied to you because they're going back into mid tower. Terminator must have overstepped his boundaries, because this is a lot of pressure coming out from Wild Inferno into the middle T2. 2 members of Wild Inferno standing on the right-hand side. A great bomb coming from the sky. The dash will be right to 2 people that I was just talking about on Wild Inferno. Tower will be focused, but then, wow, FullOfShrimp forced out to use Aegis, forced out to use beads is not enough to escape the damage of Indigo. TheWeebyFiji throwing this ultimate at no one besides, oh, just to use the CC immunity, excuse me,
I see.
and 2 people will be people. I was like, wait a minute, why did he use that on
Yeah.
no one? Dracull will be the consolation prize to Flourish because of being so far out of position. Anvil of Dawn was back up again. This initiated the fight at the beginning and actually will maybe end the fight as well, because that's a kill onto Royalty getting caught out at the top left-hand side. I don't know if I really would call that caught out, because that's his side of the jungle, his speed buff at 22 minutes into the game, being this far pressured. Katamatic trying to get this tower, but instead he is the tower that will be gotten, falling very quickly. This is a teeter-totter situation. We saw this in game number 1, but tower will still end up falling. Indigo saying, I'm going to go ahead and 1v4 you guys. Might not work out in his favor, because here comes Terminator with the big old stun of the tiger, and the friendly VenomHQ is here, but will it be enough? Where is Terminator? I think he's up in the air. Wait, what? Oh, Indigo dashed away. What? I didn't know where he was. I thought he just disappeared from the middle of nowhere. But instead, the teeter-totter, as I was just saying, that's exactly what it is. Again, we're back again with full health Dracull, but nothing here for him this time. What was there, though, for Wild Inferno was Sun Wukong. They took the Sun Wukong, and Indigo survives. So a solo lane, not trade, actually just a win for Wild Inferno. 17-5 is your score, and Gold Fury is the target. This could be another fight, but I'll let you go ahead and talk over it just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Indigo and Venom, they just do such a good job of staying alive in these fights and giving their team an opportunity to come back. And they're going to just destroy Royalty for staying a little too far forward. I don't know if he realized that all the rest of Wild Inferno was spawned there, or else he would not have been standing there like he was. And Wild Inferno are going to pick up this gold free. Looked like FullOfShrimp was going to try something cheeky, but they play it smart, and they walk away before they get seen and blown up just like Royalty did.
We've seen Wild Inferno do this multiple times, walking from the left side of the map to the right side of the map and creating a burning trail behind them. They also have the Agni, so that's a little bit ironic that I say that. The only person here to challenge this will be Cosmic Warrior, but Cosmic Warrior is not in time to challenge it. A level 20 cat will jump onto Cosmic Warrior head. Sadly, will miss it, but Anvil of Dawn will not miss. No beads, no Aegis on Cosmic Warrior will fall. Going up into the cloud is iTerminatorr right now. Waaav running away. That's the fake clone right there that just died. But this is the real Sun Wukong. This is the real iTerminatorr, and that wall, legendary from Indigo. Indigo just keeps disappearing off my screen, but then reappearing in different places because of his hammer. And here we go. Fire Giant, 24 minutes into the game, a little bit earlier than the previous game. Last game was about a 28-minute mark that we had the first Fire Giant fall. This one looking to be at the 24-minute mark. Royalty is the only person here to challenge it on the side of Flourish, but going up into the powwow he is right now, looking at 5 members that are basically full health on Wild Inferno. This is an opportunity for a steal, but Wild Inferno will end up securing it thanks to a Pyro Bomb. And Royalty running away from a full health Indigo. That's a scary person to be running away from. Probably doing the jiggy, as I said, one of the best dances in the game is what that is. Royalty says, I'm going to take a little pit stop here and try to steal your speed buff as I'm level 17, need the farm. But instead, just keep running. Why are you running? Why are you running? That's the exact meme I'm thinking about right now. And there's not really much more to say about it besides, let's see if he actually can escape from this. Two speed buffs are here, and he's going to secure them both. What? What? He gets the farm. He gets level 18. Was it worth it for Royalty? It almost feels like it might have actually been. But enough, Horus falling on the back end of that, no longer having Fire Giant. A great pick for Flourish, and that's what they wanted. To get this mic out of my mouth, because, wow, these fights are so extended.
I mean, yeah, Flourish just keep coming back for more. Their magic is never giving up. And Wild Inferno, they're like, I'll take it. They keep showing up. They keep killing the rest of Flourish. Dracull goes down, which is the first member of Wild Inferno to go down in to like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go on the Cosmic again in the middle lane. I don't know what else he can do.
Yeah, just run away. That's a kill right there again. Indigo looking a lot better on this Thor this game than he was in last game. Is it because he doesn't have Frostbound Hammer? We'll never know. But I think you and I should say yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's because he does not have Frostbound Hammer.
Yeah, that's why he's winning so much this game. But I asked you about TheWeebyFiji on the best stat at the beginning of this game. I think it answered itself. I think it did. 8-1. He's playing this in crazy fashion.
Yeah, 8-1, and not to mention 14 assists. You know, only match an assist by the Horus support. You know, who's also, you know, participating in a lot of these kills. But Yeah, just the kill participation alone on VenomHQ just goes to show exactly the dominance Wild Inferno has had and the way they've done it together. You know, I mentioned this back in game one, you know, when talking about Wild Inferno, is that they typically, when they win games, it's typically off the back of all of them playing, you know, as a team together. And that's really what they've shown, you know, so dominantly in this game 3. Flourish really have to figure out what their game plan is to combat this. And it looks like it's Royalty doing a sneaky play on the back of this Gold Fury siege.
This could be pulling about 3 or 4 beads. We don't have any Magi's Blessing as of yet on the side of Wild Inferno. Only beads and ultimates for some of these players, especially VenomHQ, who we saw use it the previous time. Royalty standing there just a bit longer than I would expect him to. Going up into the air is Thor. Anvil of Dawn will be brought down. There's the powwow being brought out. VenomHQ was the single target that is being pulled and will not be pulled thanks to beads. Great defense right now from Flourish, but they're a little bit split, and Indigo is in their base. This Titan is taking the Phoenix and will make it fall. Titan wins, Phoenix loses, and I don't know if Wild Inferno are exactly done just yet, because that Titan is walking into the Titan room, and they have all towers down. So this Phoenix is going to be their next target. They have Fire Giant around their waist. No ultimate on Royalty. This should just be a quick murder, and that's exactly what it is. Not a good situation to be in if you're Flourish right now, because now you only have 2 members versus 5 members of Wild Inferno. Dashing in is Indigo, looking to do another 1v6 with no Frostbound Hammer, no Manon. And now they're retreating. This is a good call, good smart call, taking their opportunities from Wild Inferno, but you see a sneaky little play being done by Indigo and VenomHQ up there, possibly looking for a pick, but instead opting to go ahead and run away. Let's look and set up for this next Fire Giant. Let's go in and get Pyromancer. Let's back and finish off our builds, as Thor still has an item to finish, Bastet still has an item to finish, everyone basically has an item to finish, Titan's Bane still to come out on Tishibalanke.
Look at the player damage on Indigo, Fiji, and Venom, and just how close. First of all, how high their damage is. All of them above 20, you know, a little above 22k, and just how close they are together. You could tell that these 3, in particular, have been just, you know, like picking people off, picking their spots, and fighting as a team together, which is sort of like the overall reason of, you know, why they're winning so hard. 15k gold lead, 30 minutes in, and it's not slowing down. They're going for this primal.
Yeah, I said this game was feeling like this game was feeling like the first game, and it was kind of like a similar kind of book. It's not feeling that way anymore. It's feeling like Wild Inferno are just running this game. There was a moment in game 1 where Flourish had an opportunity to run that game. They got a Phoenix down on the right-hand side of the map. I can barely remember that because it was so long ago at this point.
Yeah.
But it's not the same story this time. 2 Phoenixes down on the side of Flourish, and Wild Inferno just feel like they run the map. They own it. This is their map.
They do.
Yeah. This is their map.
do.
If Royalty is the only one that's going to come and pressure this Fire Giant again, there's probably a problem on the side of Flourish's comms and composition, because they don't feel the comfortability to be able to walk into these types of Fire Giants. And guess what now? It's enhanced Fire Giant.
Yeah. Flourish really just debating whether they should step up to this or not. They don't have a lot of time to think because this Fire Giant's going down fast. Already 50% HP. And Wild Inferno, they're waiting for someone to step up, and no one on Flourish really is.
Indigo didn't go up in the air here. Look to go ahead and box out some members of Flourish. Wild Inferno will secure the enhanced Fire Giant, and the first target for Indigo actually ended up being Cosmic Warrior, and it will be a secure kill. Golden Apple is a little too late on the throw. 2 members of Flourish already down into the graves, 6 feet under, and the other 5 members of Wild Inferno still happy and breathing, walking towards the Titan room and possibly towards the right side Phoenix if they wanted to play it the safe route, but instead going for the Titan end. They are so far ahead at this point that this is an opportunity for them to end the game. This might be it, but they're looking for a kill immediately onto iTerm, who has already gone up into the air, and VenomHQ gonna go ahead and get a constellation prize, and there it is so quickly, just like we saw the Fire Giant get melted. Wild Inferno will take this set 2-1. Congratulations to Wild Inferno, and we will see you guys at the stats screen. Sometimes I gotta question myself about how to do those end games as a chair one, because sometimes there's people like Anthony that are like, the veil has been pulled over their head. The sun is breaking. Sunbreakers are dominating, and
He's
stuff like
so
that.
good.
He's so good at it, but I still gotta give it out. I did not boost you guys up enough, Wild Inferno, but really well done in this third game. It didn't feel as exciting as the second game, just because Wild Inferno rolled. It was a steamroll. There was
Yeah.
no opportunities for Flourish to do anything, and I don't know exactly why. But maybe you could fill me in on what Flourish might have done wrong that didn't let them get this win.
They just never got the ball rolling. I mean, you saw, um, like you saw Wild Inferno get like the early lead, and congrats to Slickfawn winning his gems. But you saw Wild Inferno get the early lead. You saw Flourish sort of like step back, and they got like 4 kills, and then, I mean, they ended the game 30 minutes later on 5 kills. They really just were never able to sort of pull together and get these things early. I think it was really a big jungle game from WeebyFiji. Royalty really, we saw a bunch of early aggression with the powwow, but we never saw him go on the same target. We would see him get a beads, and then his next thing would be on dual lane, and they would have their beads up, and then he'd go back to mid lane, and they would have their beads up because he only got powwowed 2 times ago, and we just need to see him have a focus on someone in particular. I would have liked to see it on Venom. Obviously, didn't die the entire game. Just like a masterclass of like how to position and pick your spots in the mid lane. It's really exciting to see, but just a good adaptation from Wild Inferno, just like fighting against like the scrappy playstyle of Flourish, to be honest.
And Flourish, they showed up and played that game too, like no one else. Lights, one of the best games I've casted this season as of yet.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch because of how close it was the entire game, and I was so excited to see them push that lead they ended up getting about halfway through the game and winning with it. So Flourish has it in them. They have that dog in them, but it's just got to
Mhm.
come out in the right times. But we can talk about what was done right real quick before we go ahead and move on from this set, and we will see you in the next one. But uh, I think that, as you said, WeebyFiji was the player of that game
Yeah.
for Wild Inferno. And then we can't sit on Indigo doing really well in that Thor. We saw some really great Anvil of Dawns as well. I'll throw it back to you one more time, and then I'll go ahead and close this out. What if you were not going to build Frostbound Hammer and you were not going to pick Manon in Street Fighter? What is your favorite Smash Bros? What's your main?
My Smash Bros main, I was a big Lucario player in Brawl, and then they added Incineroar, who's my favorite like newer Pokemon. But he sucks in Smash Bros. So he's
He
just a
sucks.
bad character. I'm gonna say Ike,
All
but
right,
it
there we
would
go.
be
Ike, baby.
Incineroar.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, DivineApe, your
Mm,
favorite Manon main, as well as your Ike main, as well as we'll learn more about DivineApe throughout the rest of the season. Thank you
sure
to
will.
iNooblet, our cam guy, and thanks to me, your chair one. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
DivineApe. All right. We will see you guys in the next set of Divine, Unstoppable, Immortal, or Godlike. Who knows who it will be? Might be me, might be Divine. But thank you for watching and have a good day.